Oh.
Wait, Mark.
All right, everybody, it's 6:02 p.m. I'd like to call the voting session to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence.
Recording in progress.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We can please remain standing for a moment of silence for all the men and women of our armed forces who gave the ultimate sacrifice that we remember on Memorial Day. Thank you. Okay. Roll call, please, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Hawes?
Here.
Ms. Krishnowski? Here. Mr. Liscavige?
Here.
Ms. McDermott?
Here.
Mr. Perry? Here. Mr. Sabatino?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Stevenson?
Here.
Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Mr. Wilovich?
Here.
Mr. Lombardo?
Here.
All present?
All right, thank you. Attorney Skeen, could you please announce our executive session?
Yes. Prior to the meeting today, we had an executive session to discuss litigation and real estate matters.
Okay. I forgot the proclamation in the council chambers, so we'll move on to the voting session. Are there any deletions from the voting session agenda? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
Chair?
Oh, go ahead.
Was the energy matter removed?
Um,
I asked that that be removed.
I will double check. I believe that Ms. Lawrence removed it.
Okay, thank you.
She's coming back in the room right now. Hold on. Ms. Lawrence, did you remove the energy provider? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I'll just read the proclamation, and then we'll move on. Okay. All right, this proclamation is for Child Welfare Professionals Appreciation Week. Whereas every day in Luzerne County, hundreds of children and families receive services from child welfare service providers as a result of their involvement with county child welfare agencies. And whereas Luzerne County recognizes the risks and need to intervene to protect the children and families and provide services for the betterment of their lives. And whereas these workers fulfill crucial services that help to protect children, strengthen families, and prevent future abuse and neglect. And whereas child welfare services provide work with children who have experienced trauma and have been victimized by physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, and other forms of maltreatment. And whereas child welfare services providers bring culturally relevant and trauma-informed expertise to their work in family preservation, foster, and other out-of-home care, counseling, behavioral health treatment, independent living skills, and other challenging areas. And whereas child welfare services providers must develop and maintain substantial knowledge and skills surrounding the needs and rights of families, laws, and regulations surrounding child welfare, and the intricacies of working with county child welfare agencies. And whereas child welfare service providers exhibit tremendous dedication to the endeavor of protecting Luzerne County's children and families, often with uncertain financial security and the inevitably challenging work of serving traumatized individuals. And whereas child welfare service providers continue to face significant challenges related to the recruitment and retention of staff at a time when children's and families' needs have significantly increased. And whereas child welfare agencies and the entirety of Pennsylvania's child welfare system benefit greatly from the commitment, dedication, and perseverance of the child welfare service providers. And whereas many of Luzerne County's children and families have benefited greatly from the efforts of child welfare service providers. Now, therefore, we, the Luzerne County Council, do hereby proclaim June 9th to the 13th, 2025, as Child Welfare Service Providers Appreciation Week in special recognition of the efforts of the child welfare service providers in supporting the children and families of Luzerne County. Thank you very much. Would you like to say a couple of words? Okay. The mic, make sure it's on. Sorry. There we go.
Good thing I'm not in charge of IT. Good evening, Council, County Manager, and Chief Solicitor. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you for recognizing my staff. I have with me tonight supervisors Jackie and Jeremy, and a caseworker, Richard, and one of my managers, Tennille. And I just want to say what an extraordinary staff we have at Children, Youth, and Families protecting the children of Luzerne County. And I really appreciate the opportunity of you recognizing them. Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody want to come up and take the proclamation?
Thank you.
Okay. Take two. Any deletions from the voting session agenda?
I move that we adopt the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted. We'll now have public comment on voting session agenda items. I have several slips and I have an email. I am going to read the email first so I don't forget it. This is from Walter Griffith, and it says, Agenda Item 4, motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the county manager to execute an agreement of sale between Luzerne County and Market Square. The county controller strongly recommends that county council postpone this purchase until the new county council is in place or vote no to purchase this facility. The property that the county council is considering purchasing for $615,000 was purchased by the county many years ago for $5.8 million. The property was then sold to George Albert for around $1.5 million, resulting in a loss to the taxpayers of around $4 million, and then a lease agreement was made in advance to facilitate the renovation of the train station, which would guarantee revenue to Mr. Albert of $3,000 per month or $36,000 annually for the next 5 years, or $180,000. Currently, there is nothing the county is responsible for except for the rent, no insurance costs, no utilities, no MS4 fees, and the property is providing real estate taxes to the county, municipal, and school district. The resolution that is on the agenda does not specify where the funding will be provided to make this purchase, and the people of Luzerne County need to have transparency regarding this purchase. The Real Estate Committee meeting on February 24th, where there was testimony by Alan Stout, stated they need to move to the train station was due to the former site not having sufficient room and for the visual optics of having an attraction and space to provide literature for the visitors of the facility. The county controller spoke with Mr. Stout a few days ago and asked what records are maintained to determine the number of visitors at the train station, and was informed they have no requirements that visitors sign a register, therefore no ability to determine the number of visitors. The county council should have this information first to determine the need for this purchase. The county council has very little documentation that this facility is needed by the county visitors bureau, yet they're being asked to spend $615,000 to purchase it. There are several reasons the county council should not authorize the purchase of this structure. The train station on the agenda is listed on the historic register and as such will require the county to get approval or anything it tries to perform with this building, which causes added expense to the taxpayer. This doesn't seem to have been a cost analysis of the additional expenses that will be incurred by the taxpayers as a result of this purchase. Cost of utilities, electric and water and sewer fees, along with the MS4 we will now be responsible for. Cost of maintenance for lawn care and snow removal. The county administration reason for the purchase is to eliminate the lease payments and prevent the Visitors Bureau from relocating to another location if the property is purchased by somebody else. The county has 16 district magistrate judges, and they're all leasing facilities at an annual budget cost of the taxpayers of $500,000, yet we are not looking to purchase any structures to eliminate this cost. Why is the train station any different? The county council should be prioritizing the items that the administration is requesting based on the needs that benefit the taxpayers. A $615,000 purchase of this structure is not needed and cannot be the best use of taxpayer funding when it comes to the general fund or Office of Community Development. Luzerne County has many roads and bridges that are currently closed or in emergency repair status, and we are thinking of purchasing a structure that could cost the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is not being good fiduciary stewards of the taxpayer dollars. Luzerne County also has a property in Hazleton, the Broad Street Exchange, that we currently own and cannot maintain, and this property needs extensive repairs, yet we want to purchase more property that we will be responsible to maintain and repair when we can't take care of the ones we already own, with lots of exclamation points. The Luzerne County Controller feels this is a purchase that is not needed and will waste taxpayers' money and urges County Council to vote no on this resolution. Okay. Next up, we have Bob Kadlubowski. Your time is running, but okay.
Don't hit me. Bob Kalabowski, Luzerne County taxpayers and also live action reporter. Is this the time that I should talk about this Luzerne County Redevelopment Authority?
Yes, this is on the voting session agenda, sir.
Okay, and I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but Mrs. Crocomo, is that how you say your name? Crocomo. I called you a few weeks ago and left a message, and you never got back to me. I know you're busy. I also wrote a letter to the district attorney about the situation with the redevelopment authority, what's been going on by the Uber Breaker site. There's 65 acres, I believe, that has been held up, I believe, for 5 years. 5 years. And the stinking part about it is, there was a board member who got off the board. A year later, gets a sales purchase agreement for the property, and it's been held up for 5 years. Something stinks with this situation. There's a businessman who will buy it tomorrow and work with the state to remediate that site. The people in the Carey's Patch section of Ashley do not want this former board member of the Redevelopment Authority building a massive warehouse. They don't want it. I guess the head of the Redevelopment Authority was at a meeting in Ashley, and I brought up to her that there was somebody there that wanted to pay a lot more money. And she said, "Who has deep pockets that'll buy it?" And my friend, his name is John Halliday, stood up, he says, "I'll buy it." This should be investigated. How could you hold up every dime that comes in for the Luzerne County taxpayers is something that could be used towards fixing the bridges, doing some kind of other project? We have to do something about this redevelopment authority. And I don't, Mr. Skeet, I don't know if you can answer this. How do we get rid of this board? Does this council have the right to get rid of the board? And let me finish, you can answer. But does the county have the right to get rid of this board? This property out there has a sales agreement, from what I'm told, for over 5 years. 5 years, and you have a businessman from Ashley who wants to develop it and try to there's businesses that are going to be displaced because of the expansion of Route 81, and wants to help try to get them to relocate down there. The people don't want another 1 million square foot warehouse in Carey's Patch. But you see my point? How could somebody get off the board and a year later...
All right, thank you, sir.
Well, I'm not finished.
Your time is up. You have had 3 minutes.
But I'm not finished.
Sir, that's part of our rules of decorum. Yeah, you have 3 minutes. Yeah, please. Yeah, you can have 3 minutes at the end of the meeting as well, and on the work session.
This is the first time I
All
didn't
right.
see you with your firefighter suit on.
Oh,
Okay.
all right.
All right, I could talk again?
You can talk again at the end of the meeting and at the work session as
How
well.
long will that take till we get to that?
It might take a little bit.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kadlubowski.
Thank you, Mr. Lombardo.
Okay. Next up, Mr. Rabo.
Mark Rabo Hazelton, former member of the County Redevelopment Authority. I'm here to talk about item number 4, the train station. Now, I have the unique experience that I was on the board when the train station was being talked about being sold and eventually was sold. And then I was at the council meeting when it was sold and also purchased by Mr. Albert, and now the county wants to buy it back. And at the time I was on the board and also as a citizen, you know, I asked the question, why are you guys selling it if you possibly are going to use it in the future for a county offices or county use? And I was told there was no way to find the proceeds and the funds to maintain it because the capital funds were dwindling. So then the county goes ahead and sells it. The Redevelopment Authority appraised it at $1.2 million. It was sold to Mr. Albert, who is now going to be the beneficiary of the sale, or, you know, like you guys are going to sell it or buy it back off of him for $615,000. I'm wondering, first of all, why aren't you asking him about what he owes to the county currently? Because if memory serves, wasn't he a participant of the Jenkins Township TIF, or the original TIF? He's no longer the property owner now, but he sold out. How should we say, controversy when a former county commissioner kind of got in a sidebar agreement with a contractor and the FBI busted him and the former director of the Redevelopment Authority? Yeah, that one. So I think what the council needs to do is ask where that money is before you guys give your blessing or approval to buying this train station. And as far as the rail line, I just want you all to know that the rail line also pays for the staff and the director of the Redevelopment Authority because they're also work for the Rail Corporation. So I'm kind of wondering, I never received a notice of delinquents when I was on the board. And also, come to think of it, why now? Why all of a sudden now for all of this, and by the way, Madam Manager, Mr. Chair, something you need to consider. The rail line is being maintained, has been maintained, so you need to think about PennDOT funds, Mr. Chair,
Okay.
30 seconds.
Thank
The PennDOT funds and federal DOT funds that are being used because they're entangled in that rail line,
Okay,
just
thank
so
you,
you're
Mr.
aware.
Rabo.
All
Thank
right.
you. Mr. Lindy?
Scott Lindy. I'm a member of the Luzerne County Redevelopment Authority and the Luzerne County Rail Corporation, but both my attorneys have made sure that I inform you that I'm only speaking as one of those members today, not in that capacity. We received from the Luzerne County Redevelopment Authority a letter on May. I'm having trouble with my one eye. I'm sorry. May 15th, I think, based on our meeting of 5/12/25, it was determined that subject to council's authorization, Luzerne County would take possession of Luzerne County Rail Corporation and plans to sell it and use the proceeds to repay the debt for Luzerne County and Luzerne County Community Development. I just want to let you know that both of those authorities and corporations look forward to working with you on those goals once we learn what they are. It would be extremely confusing now to try to turn this over with all the ongoing litigation and everything. So just to let you know that we're looking forward to meeting with you and learning what your goals are and to work with you to accomplish them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lindy. Anybody else for public comment in the audience tonight on the voting session? Anybody on the Zoom? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th, 2025 voting session?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Agenda item number 1, motion to adopt the resolution approving the allocation of opioid settlement proceeds to the Willow Foundation. Motion and a second. Roll call.
On the question, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead. Mr.
Who,
Ross.
who are the principals of the Willow Foundation exactly? Do we have that information
that
offhand, or
information in the
are there any representatives
agenda submittal?
from the
Yeah,
organization
I think
here?
it's in the agenda submittal.
Yeah. Is
Because
anybody
we
here-
have had question about this before when we
Yeah.
gave them ARPA funding, I think.
Okay. I mean, I saw that
Right.
I read the narrative that they're the only entity in South County that is capable of doing something like this. I get this, and I also
Yeah.
want to be very clear. I really value the members of the committee that are tasked with allocating these resources. But again, for public edification, for my peace of mind, do they have a board, Ramilda?
The
or
chief executive
how does that go?
officer and vice president is Kristen Topolsky. And that's the person who is dealing with the opioid application.
Okay. Is there a board as well, I'm guessing? What does that exactly look like from this organization?
Yeah, it's I believe it's a nonprofit organization.
Mr. Chair, if I may, it is a
Yeah.
great organization. I've toured the facility. They provide a lot of day services for the homeless in South County in the Hazleton area.
I saw that.
They have an amazing service there that there's nothing in Hazleton that rivals it at this point, or even gets close to it. And they do a really great job of making sure that people have meals, they have clean clothes, they have internet access. So this would be something that I would support.
In all fairness, thanks, Mr. Sabatino. In all fairness, I'm going to have the same question for the Dress of Success one, and thanks to Councilwoman Stephenson for bringing this up. We need more information. I appreciate reading the narrative in the packet.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that the money actually goes to what it's tasked with. So many times government allocates money and resource to areas, and it doesn't really resolve the problem. This is such a critical problem. I don't know if
Just
someone can
to
speak
answer
that.
your question, similar to the ARPA funding that was received by entities, we are tasked with tracking this funding, and I'm
Absolutely.
fairly certain that it's going to be a very similar tracking process, if not identical to the ARPA funding, just because it works so well with that. So we will be able to determine if funds are actually being allocated to the items that they're being requested for. And specifically as it relates to the Willow Foundation, again, this is for the facility in Hazleton. So that all of that will be completed. That those checks and balances are there in this whole process.
So there is a board of directors. If you go on the website, it lists the board of directors. And just so everybody is reminded again, the opioid money comes from a court settlement. It's not a grant. It's a court settlement. And there's a trust that was created. And we have to be very meticulous when we report to the trust. And we will have to make sure that the money is being used for the intended purposes of the applicants. Otherwise, we will lose that money. And myself and Megan Stone and Jim Rose were at a CCAP conference, and there was someone who does the overview for the trust who spoke. And she was very clear that we have to make the reporting requirements, and we have to review that the money is being used for the intended purpose. It's a court order. We don't do it right, the court will refuse to give us more money. That simple.
Ms. Smith, did you have a comment?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to know, I would reiterate what County Manager just said. If you look on page 16, it does say Center Director, so that implies that it would be a board with an executive director. However, I also wanted to address the fact that this is in South County, and we've done a really good job of beginning to offer more and more services in South County. And I'm very proud to be a part of the opening of the South County office with our services, and I think this is a very good move, especially because it is such a large gap between this county seat and South County.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, there's a motion and a second.
Gap geographically, just saying. So.
Right. There's a
Thank
motion
you.
and a second.
Very good.
Roll
Motion.
call?
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 2, motion to adopt the resolution approving the allocation of opioid settlement proceeds to Dress for Success.
So move.
Second.
All right. You got that?
Not the second.
Okay, who was the second?
There was
then?
3
Okay,
at
all right,
once.
Ms. Stevenson. Okay, motion and a second. Roll call?
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 3, motion to adopt the resolution approving the allocation of opioid settlement proceeds to the Greater Pittston Regional Ambulance.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Roll call?
Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Lombardo?
I abstain due to a prior employment relationship.
10-0 with 1 abstention, it passes.
Thank you. Number 4, motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the county manager to execute an agreement of sale between Luzerne County and Market Square Properties Development LLC for real property identified by PIN number, I'm not going to read the number, located within the city of Wilkes-Barre.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call?
On the question, Mr. Chair? So,
Go ahead.
just appreciate management, because I spoke with the manager and our budget and finance director. I'm still concerned with where the money is expressly originating from. We talked about miscellaneous funds, and for
Mary?
something like this, I believe in this project very, very much. I was on the council that voted to make sure this was rehabbed, and I'm very pleased with the result. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad question to ask that if we invest in this project, some other project elsewhere is not going to benefit, because we've got a lot of roads and bridges around town, like we talked about Romilda
Right.
personally, and
And I'll speak to the road and bridge issue.
yeah, absolutely.
And you brought up the Hanover Industrial Park, and I received an email today from a resident in the Back Mountain about Harris Hill Bridge. The Hanover Industrial Park will cost about $6 million to redo all those roads. We intend to do all those roads. We have to plan it because it's $6 million. Historically, we've been doing roads piecemeal, and that is not effective. For example, Lower Des Moines. We do patches of it, and it really isn't the most efficient and effective way to rebuild our roads. That's number 1. The Harris Hill Road, we do have money earmarked for that. That's coming from ARPA interest. I believe we said it last week, and we'll say it again, the money is coming from interest from the Community Development Fund. Mary? And
Yeah,
please explain why we are purchasing the property outright rather than financing it. And that'll address the controller's issue, who is penny-wise and dollar-foolish.
Sure. As we spoke on Friday, to Councilman Haas, we did go through that the money to purchase the train station is coming from miscellaneous revenue accounts that exist at community development. The majority of the money that are in those accounts have been earned, it's interest that's been earned for many, many years. I mean, it goes back many, many years. The $615,000 will come out of, again, that miscellaneous revenue account. If we were to get a mortgage on the property, as some people have questioned that also, we would be paying at least 6.5% interest for the banks that we've called. The interest income that we're earning from the accounts is about 2%, and I think it's like 2.17% to be exact, at community development. So it makes sense to purchase the building as opposed to, you know, again, taking on more debt for just pure financial reasons, just the money. In addition to that, we don't want to increase our debt because we want to maintain and improve our credit rating. So we're not in a position where we want to increase the amount of debt that the county holds at all for any reason, and we don't need to. It makes sense from an interest rate perspective, and we don't want to increase our debt.
And just to be clear, the original sale years ago that was referenced by the controller, this is a different parcel that we're buying. And there is something to say about the fact that we are the stewards of Luzerne County's history, and that train station is a symbol of that. And we, the administration and the council, we have to be stewards for your grandchildren, my nieces and nephews. And this is just the beginning.
Mr. Haas?
What makes it so difficult for me is that history is my vocation, and you have no bigger fan on this council regarding historical things than myself. And the very difficult thing is there are a lot of projects all around the county, and if we can keep that viable by renting it, I'm all for it. If we can keep it by owning, I'm all for it. But there's a lot of struggles with our county roads and bridges all over the county, and you all hear about it just as much as I do. And so I have a really hard time knowing that there's been money out there that we're not allocating in other areas.
We are spending $20 million. This spring, we are going to do projects for our roads and our bridges, a burden that we did not assume, that our predecessors assumed. There's no reason, there's no logical reason why Luzerne County owns roads in industrial areas. There's no reason, there's no logical reason for it. We are going to keep our promise. We are going to do those roads. We are spending $20 million on projects this spring.
I mean, I think I'm in the minority on this one, but my only other issue is, too, the controller brought up things which I disagree with most of what he said. There's no reason to wait for a new council to take action on this, absolutely not. But it did also move the question, if we're only having a parcel of this original property, and the goal is to have viable train service here in downtown Wilkes-Barre through this, I don't believe the rail lines are part of this new parcel. Am I mistaken in that? Because
No,
I'm seeing
and
that that's a long-term goal.
it is not. But we have to think about the future, and we have to plan. And we have to have a global plan. Northeastern Pennsylvania and Luzerne County is way behind the 8 ball when it comes to infrastructure. And we're even further behind the 8 ball when it comes to rail service. That doesn't mean we have to give up on it. What it means is that we have a plan, and we will have a plan. We will have a strategic plan going forward when it comes to infrastructure. And it isn't just the rail lines. It's our roads, it's our bridges, it's our trails, it's our airports. Because the core of economic development, the fundamental of economic development is infrastructure. The other core is attracting people to Luzerne County. We want people to visit Luzerne County. We want people to visit Luzerne County and spend money in Luzerne County. We want people to visit Luzerne County, spend money in Luzerne County, and say, why don't we move to Luzerne County? We want people to appreciate the value of Luzerne County. And part of that is starting with preserving its history.
And I'm not in opposition to any of that whatsoever, but the devil's in the details. I'm going to call the question on myself in just a second here. But are we going to also be tasked with making a decision on the remainder part of the property down the road? Is that going to be part of it? Is this going to be part of the strategic vision?
No,
Or are
that's
we going
not
to keep
part
on
of our
having
plan.
this?
That is not
Okay.
part of our plan.
All right, other council members have some comments that they'd like to make. Mr. Thornton?
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo the comments that the county manager made over here. What's striking to me is I heard a lot of comments against the purchase of this property tonight. Some of them are valid. However, all of them miss the big global picture. And I've said this 3.5 years I'm sitting on this council. Council tends to not see the big picture, does not see what could be, what can be in this county. You know, we go fix that road, all the roads need to be fixed. We have $20 million earmarked for road improvement this year, road and bridge improvement. It's a lot of money, in an operating budget of roughly $167 million. $20 million is a lot of money. But what I'm looking at, and I hope others could see it, Wilkes-Barre City is the seat of Luzerne County. We all need to take a more collective pride in how we look at Wilkes-Barre City, because the county has a responsibility to put Wilkes-Barre on the map. And as Ms. Crocomo said, we're way behind. We have very poor vision of the future. What I see happening, I go to Jim Thorpe, some of us go to Jim Thorpe, that's just one town. You see how many people flood into that town every weekend, just thousands by the thousands, by train, many of them from Pittston City, but many of them from spoked routes all around Jim Thorpe, out and below, south of it. Why can't that be Wilkes-Barre? Why can't you have a gem historical building like that train station, which was built in the 1800s? The county takes it under our ownership, therefore it will always be preserved the proper way, and will sit as the hallmark of progress. Because what I see happening is passenger rail service coming to that train station, coming from Allentown, coming from areas, maybe the Poconos, maybe point out west. I don't know. And then from there, we have over $11 million being pumped into that iron building a couple of blocks from here. That's going to be a gorgeous venue. That big building, that theater, used to house or have the shows of the Rat Pack years ago. Frank Sinatra, all those guys, Dean Martin. National acts won't come here now because we don't have the venue. The Kirby Center is a specific venue for certain types of national acts. We toured it, and they explained what acts come there. But a lot of national acts won't come. When the Iron Building is up and running, and it's beautiful, ornate, gorgeous interior, you should see it. We toured that too. I could see passenger trains bringing people here in the morning, eating at very nice restaurants around Wilkes-Barre. We have a couple already near the square and off the square. And we develop Public Square with a vision, okay? Not Dollar General, not some of these other things that we have on Wilkes-Barre Public Square. You know, what's wrong with having wine tasting, little winery, microbrewery, arts and crafts shops? You know, things you see in these nice, quaint towns around Pennsylvania, which bring thousands of people to come see them. And then maybe people will like it so much, like Manager Crocomo said, maybe they move here and we improve our tax base and everything else. That's what I see it as, not just, oh, we're buying another, it's not a square little building or something like that. It's a gem. And I just think we need to all have bigger forward vision. Thank you.
Mr. Sabatino?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Rozell, could you speak to Controller Griffith actually mentioned the maintenance of the building going forward? Would that all be taken care of through the hotel tax?
The majority of it can be taken care of through the hotel tax, yes.
And can this interest money be used for anything else? Or is
It can be,
Okay.
yes, it can be used for other projects also.
Okay.
And we're looking at that. We're looking at the best use of funds across every department and every fund that exists in the county.
And buying this, it frees up money in the hotel tax budget
Correct.
for us to pay for other things out of
Correct.
Okay,
$2,700 a month.
thank you.
Ms. Stevenson?
My question is similar to Councilman Sabatino's. Is there a rough estimate to the expenses and maintenance costs for the current Market Square property?
I don't have that with me, I'm sorry, but I can send it to everyone.
Okay. And what is the current estimate of the interest funds in the community development
About,
fund?
in total,
Yes,
about $7 million.
thank you.
One more thing, and a couple other council members have. I just wanted to make a comment really quick. When this first came into conversation, I had some concerns about the actual physical condition of the building as it is now. Being that it is so old, it was renovated, and it looks beautiful as it is. I've toured the building. I've been there several times, so it is a beautiful, amazing building, and I think it would be a great asset to the county in general. But I did have some concerns. Not to get into specifics, but I had a conversation with somebody who had some more intimate knowledge of some of the renovations that were done on the building, and I did speak to Manager Crocomo about that, and we had all of our people go out and investigate that. Anything that was deficient was actually repaired by the owner of the building, and I was totally satisfied by all
Yes.
of that.
There was an issue, we had them, it was the roof. They did the work on the roof, and Alan Stout is here, and we do not call the landlord to fix the building on a regular basis. The other thing I want to point out is we have a lot of road and bridges, and we have a lot of buildings. And our buildings, and this building, this gorgeous, gorgeous building, this architectural gem that we're in, that we're privileged to work in, is one of them. I can tell you this, just as we have to maintain our roads and bridges, and we have to have plans in place, which we do, to maintain our road and bridges, not just let them deteriorate to the point where we have to replace them in their entirety. It's the same thing with our buildings. And I can say that the train station is in really beautiful condition. There's issues in this building that keep me up at night, but and I work in a building that keeps me up at night. But contrary to the impression that the controller gave, we will maintain our assets going forward. But this particular building, the train station, is in very good shape.
Okay, Mr. Wilovich and then Mr. Haas.
Yes, I was born and raised in the city of Wilkes-Barre, very proud of that. This building has gone through many changes over the years. Most of my childhood, I've known it as a building that was falling apart, a building that housed homeless and people in tough situations. We've come a long way. We're not buying this building in dilapidated state. We're buying this building in great condition. I was there when we were there cleaning out the building a few years ago before everything started getting renovated. And you know, there's other buildings in this county that have had huge historical aspects and historical stories that they went by the wayside. They fell apart. They were destroyed because people didn't take care of them. And I think the best thing we can do is take it over as the county. I mean, it's a small building, it's a huge historical significance, and I think it would show that Luzerne County cares about our history. We have a huge history in Luzerne County. Carbon County builds off of it every day. We need to follow their lead. We need to make sure we're preserving what we have. We can use it to our advantage. We need to make sure we're caring about Luzerne County. Our history is a huge part of what we have, and we need to build upon it. We can't let somebody else buy this train station again and fall in disrepair. It's happened so many times, over and over again. We are good stewards. We will take care of the building. We'll do what we have to do, and we need to make sure that we're taking care of our assets, and we will do that. I'm hugely in favor of this.
Mr. Haas?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm hugely in favor of it as well. Again, the devil's in the details. To summarize, I voted to, along with the majority of council, to rehab that building a few years ago. Some of you members were on at that point. And I also voted to move this courthouse, this very building, at the top of the capital improvement list many years ago. And we're in this beautiful rehab courthouse that we all can enjoy today. But again, if we say goodbye to the current situation where we are paying rent, we cannot use, we're currently using the hotel tax to fund that cost. This pot of money can be used for other things. And I get the finance, we talked this, Ms. Roselle, you know, you make a very logical point, and I trust the leadership, I really do. It's just that there's so many other things out there too that are very urgent, they're in need all over the county, not just in downtown Wilkes-Barre. And it pains me, but I think my vote for this one is a no, but I just wish we could have made this work a little better finance-wise.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Is there? Okay, Ms. Smith.
I think this is such an important part of Luzerne County, and I agree with Councilman Wilovich that we have allowed other people to be stewards of it in the past, and it has gone into disrepair. And the last thing I would want to see is this wonderful, historically significant building go into repair again. I would also note that I believe this is a reasonable price. Councilwoman McDermott, if you could speak to that at all, as to whether or not this is a very reasonable price, this building, being the head of the real estate committee. But I believe that it is, and I also don't think we're ever going to get a chance again to purchase this building at such a, I know it's a lot, but it is a building at this kind of a price.
All right, anything? Any other comments?
Call to question.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
No.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
10 to 1, it passes.
All right, thank you. Number 5, motion to adopt the resolution approving student sponsorship agreements for classes and programs at Luzerne County Community College LCCC employee programs.
So moved.
Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Roll call.
I'm sorry, on the
Oh.
question again, Mr. Chair.
Yep, go ahead.
I apologize, I'm being a
No,
blabbermouth
that's
tonight.
okay.
The last one, I appreciate the change in the resolution here. It says at the very end, we're on page 48, everybody. Be it further resolved, administration will create a financial policy pertaining to the scholarship program. Thank you for that. But if, more in line with this Luzerne County Council-initiated resolution, I'll feel more comfortable if it said, like I originally said, be it further resolved, Luzerne County Council directs administration to create a financial policy plan, which is what I said at the last work session. I don't know if the majority of you want to support that. Again, it's in line with everything else. This is council-driven.
Just, we do have a plan. We do have a financial plan because we have arrangements with particular Marywood University of Pittsburgh, particularly for our human services employees that get credits for master's degrees. And if they don't complete, we get the money back. So we do have a plan. So I certainly have no objection if it's in the resolution because we're doing it already.
And I know you do, Ramil, too. It's no reflection on you whatsoever. You know, I just want to be clear about that, but, again, Mr. Chair.
Are you making that amendment?
Move that, yeah.
All right.
Again, so the amendment would be to be further resolved, Luzerne County Council directs administration instead of will to create.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
All right. That's in which,
The very last section,
very
be it
last.
further resolved.
Be it further, okay,
So
thank
it's
you.
2 additions, 2 word additions and 1 change.
Directs administration to create a financial policy. Okay.
We had a motion and a second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Is there a question, Ms. Smith?
On the question, yeah. I mean, everybody knows I'm an attorney. I mince words for a living. It's a nightmare sometimes. If you're old enough, you can even remember when we questioned what the word "is" meant. Depends on what your definition of the word is. What to you, Councilman Haas, is the difference between administration will create a financial policy or the Luzerne County Council directs administration to create? I mean, they're both saying the administration is supposed to create a policy. So
And it
what
already
is
exists.
your difference between those two?
A very minor difference, but every other whereas says Luzerne County Council. And this is
So
council-driven.
you are trying to make sure that it is in line with the practice of the other resolution?
No, with
You
this,
just want to look
with this resolution itself. If you look at every
Oh,
whereas, it says
the
Luzerne County
other-
Council.
Every single other.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
It's a minor detail. I don't want to belabor the point, but
Okay.
All right,
I support either way.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Roll
Yeah,
call.
my pleasure.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Did you,
you're good.
Are you sure? Okay. All right, roll call.
Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavige? Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, thank you. The amendment's passed. Is everyone who made the first and second okay with their first and second still with the amended resolution? All right. Roll call.
Mr. Sabatino? Yes. Ms. Smith?
Emphatic yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Absolutely.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Well done, LCC and County Administration, yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott? Yes. Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Number 6, motion to adopt the resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between Luzerne County Children, Youth, and Families and Nanacoke UAW Housing Company.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige? Yes. Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? Yes. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 7, motion to introduce ordinance amending the Luzerne County zoning map to I'm sorry. Manager Croquemont, is this
No,
automatic? Oh, this is 2.
Introduce this ordinance to amend the Luzerne County zoning map to rezone one parcel of property totaling .49 acres in Newport Township from ND non-developable district zone to R2 two-family residence district zone.
Thank you.
Mr. Skeen, do we have to introduce that as a council?
Okay. Any other questions by council members? All right. Moving on. Number 8, motion to adopt the resolution approving the initiation of litigation against the delinquent creditor.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
On the question, Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'm like the old honeymooners, Ralph Cram, the blabbermouth. I'm blabbermouth tonight. I don't understand the litigation component. I'm a big dialoguer, and I wish we could dialogue instead of taking, or at least threatening to take the redevelopment authority to court. Is there any way we can have a dialogue instead of take this step?
We'll need to go into executive session.
All right. I did miss that part. Yes, I did. There you go.
Okay. Any other questions? Ms. Smith?
If any other of our ABCs would be sued, who would pay the legal fees?
It comes from the Office of Law.
So the county.
Yes.
So does that mean that we will be paying, if we initiate this litigation, we will be paying both the legal fees for the county and for the County Redevelopment Authority?
No.
Not necessarily. No.
What does that mean?
Well,
What does
let's
not
go into executive
necessarily mean?
session and we.
And I realize that I also missed a portion of it, but that was not discussed in executive session.
It was in the previous executive session. We'll be glad to discuss that with you, but we're not going to discuss it in public.
Okay.
So do we move to go
I-
into executive session again?
Somebody would like to make that motion?
Hey,
We don't
hey.
have to, but
We may have to, but hold on just one second. So it's possible, let's just speak in hypothetical terms for a second. So it's possible that we may end up using taxpayer money to pay both ends, the legal
No.
fees on both ends.
No.
It's not possible at all.
No,
Because
not by the
you just
nature
said
of the
not
litigation that we'll be filing.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move to go back into executive session.
all right, there's a motion. All in favor? Opposed? All right. Oh, okay, hold on, roll call. Roll call.
Well, then I'm not finished then if we're gonna,
This is just a motion to go into executive session at this
Oh,
point. A
is
motion and a
this on
second has been
motion.
made.
I understand.
All right.
I apologize.
And I don't think we should be discussing much about this in public anyway. So there's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Since all of these questions that were just raised were discussed at length at the previous executive session, I vote no.
No.
Yes.
Ms. Krasinski? Yes. Mr. Liscavige?
No.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry? No. Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
My largest problem here is that we are using taxpayer money for a lot of
All right,
things.
Ms. Smith,
So
yes or no?
I am answering, and I am allowed to comment just like every other
This is-
person makes comments
You're-
before their votes.
What was the answer? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Lombardo?
No.
6 yes, 5 no.
Okay. We shall return.
I'll bring snacks. Because
All right, council members. Is there a motion to reconvene the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the meeting has been restarted. Attorney Skeen, can you please announce our second executive session?
Yes, we just stepped away for a second executive session to discuss questions that some council members had relating to the conversation we had prior.
All right. Miss Lawrence, what was the first and who was the first and second on the?
Mr. Lescavage and Mr. Sabatino.
Okay, are you still okay with your first and second? Okay. Roll call. Oh,
Could
go
you
ahead.
read the motion again?
Yep. Motion to adopt the resolution approving initiation of litigation against a delinquent creditor. There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Thornton.
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich.
Yes.
Mr. Haas.
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski. Yes. Mr. Lescavage. Yes. Ms. McDermott.
Yes.
Mr. Perry. Mr. Sabatino.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
At this point, no.
Ms. Stevenson. Yes. Mr. Lombardo.
Yes.
10-1, it passes.
Thank you. Number 9, introduction of ordinance amending the 2025 fiscal year budget to utilize $56,875 from reserve fund for the strategic plan and 5-year financial plan. Manager Kokomo?
I'm introducing the ordinance to the 2025 fiscal year budget to utilize $56,875,000 from the reserve fund for the strategic plan and 5-year financial plan. That's what I noted earlier. It's our contribution to the stamp grant that we received from the Commonwealth. And when we're finished, we will not only have a strategic plan and a 5-year financial plan, but we will have an asset review as well.
All right, thank you. Any questions on that? All right. Number 10, motion to adopt an amended resolution entering into a lease with Haswald Farms LLC for a portion of Luzerne County-owned agricultural farmland in Butler Township.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Wilovich.
Yes.
Mr. Haas.
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski. Yes. Mr. Lescavage.
Yes.
Ms. McDermott.
Yes.
Mr. Perry. Mr. Sabatino.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson. Yes. Mr. Thornton.
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 11, motion to adopt an amended resolution entering into a lease with Long Hollow Cattle Company for a portion of Luzerne County-owned agricultural farmland in Butler Township.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Haas.
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski. Yes. Mr. Lescavage.
Yes.
Ms. McDermott.
Yes.
Mr. Perry. Mr. Sabatino.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson. Yes. Mr. Thornton.
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich.
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 12, motion to adopt the resolution declaring a vacancy on the Luzerne County Convention Center Authority due to death of a member.
On the question.
Go ahead.
I would just like to thank Mr. Woods for his many, many years of service on the arena board. You know, he was a valued member of his community. He was a very good friend, and I appreciate everything he did there.
I concur.
Here, here.
All right. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Krishnowski. Yes. Mr. Lescavage. Yes. Ms. McDermott.
Yes.
Mr. Perry. Mr. Sabatino.
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson. Yes. Mr. Thornton.
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich.
Yes.
Mr. Haas.
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 13, motion to adopt resolution declaring a vacancy on the Luzerne County Transportation Authority due to resignation of a member.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Lescavage.
Yes.
Ms. McDermott.
Yes.
Mr. Perry. Mr. Sabatino.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson.
Yes.
Mr. Thornton.
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich.
Yes.
Mr. Haas.
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski.
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 14, motion to adopt a resolution appointing a county council member as a County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania delegate, and please state the name of the person you would like to nominate. Up.
Motion to open.
Yeah, motion to, okay.
Motion to open nomination.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are open.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Mr. Harry Haas.
I'll second that.
Okay. There's a nomination for Mr. Haas. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Brittany Stevenson.
Okay. There's a nomination for Ms. Stevenson.
I'll second it.
Any- I would say we'll do them separately since they're different resolutions. Yeah.
So,
Do one nomination.
Okay, we
Motion to close.
What? Go
we
ahead.
do all the nominations, and then if we have 5, just do each individual.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
It's in my motion.
Okay, all right. Is there any other nominations?
I move,
Nominate Jimmy Sabatino.
Second.
Three. And there's 4 or 5. Yeah, 5, sorry.
I'd like to nominate Greg Wilovich.
Second.
who did you nominate?
Greg.
Greg. All right, that's
And you
4.
seconded it?
Yeah.
All right.
I'd like to nominate Ms. Krishnowski.
Second.
Anybody else? Any other nominations?
Motion to close nominations.
Motion to close nominations?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nominations are closed. We have 5 nominations for 5 spots, so we'll just go through the list as they've been nominated. Motion to adopt the resolution appointing Harry Haas as a county council member of the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania.
Motion.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
yes.
Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavich? Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 15. Okay, motion to adopt the resolution appointing Brittany Stevenson as a county council member as County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania voting delegate.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavich?
Yes.
Mr. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 16, motion to adopt the resolution appointing Jimmy Sabatino, a county council member, as a CCAP voting delegate.
No, you first.
Mo-
Okay.
Second it.
Motion, second by Ms. Krisnowski. Roll call.
Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavich?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 17, motion to adopt the resolution approving Greg Wilovich as a county council member of CCAP.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavich?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Sabatino? Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
Number 18, motion to adopt the resolution appointing Patty Krishnowski as a county council member of CCAP
So
voting
moved.
delegate. Motion and a second. Roll call.
Ms. Stevenson?
Yes.
Mr. Thornton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Ms. Krishnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Liscavich?
Yes.
Ms. McDermott?
Yes.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Sabatino?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Lombardo?
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right, thank you. We'll now have public comment. I have several slips. I have Brenda Rizzo.
I'm an elderly widow, and I run a small farm, 101 acres in Sugarloaf, Pennsylvania.
I think it's on. Oh, maybe.
May not need this, I've had children. I'll just talk. I've had kids before, and we have farm animals, so I'm used to yelling at everybody. I understand we need artificial intelligence, we need data processing centers, we need to keep up with the other countries of the world. But unfortunately, we live in a beautiful area. The Sugarloaf Valley, I don't know if you're familiar with it, Black Creek Township, Sugarloaf Valley. It's like Eden. Anybody that comes to visit is taking pictures, taking videos. It's so pretty. PP&L is proposing 2 500 kilowatt lines to go through our valley. I don't know if you know how big they are. 240 foot high with lights on top for the airplanes. They're taking 5 acres of my farm. They're taking 3 homes over in the Sugarloaf line, homes of people that are elderly and are taking care of an elderly brother who is mentally challenged. They have to find a new home, them and their animals. PP&L has options. If it's a data center, You can put it up in Humboldt. You can put the power plant there. You can put a power plant in Frackville, where mine is supposed to go. I asked where it's going, and they won't tell me, but this is where they're taking my property. And if you look on the bottom, and you use the magnifying glass, you will see a map of where it's going. That's it. That's the only information I have. Our property values will be cut in half. We're going to see, if we look over the sunset, they're like rusty, and they're huge with the blinking lights for the rest of our lives. They can build the power plants, like I said, in Frackville. They can build them in Humboldt, where they already have the manufacturing plants. Why not build them there? Because PP&L only makes money on transferring the energy, not on giving the energy to the different manufacturing, right, the distribution. So they want to take all these people out of their homes. They want to take our farm fields, whatever they can. They don't care, because all they want is the money. We have asked questions. I have gone to the man that's in charge of the right-of-way, Nick Swigert. I have sent him, I don't know how many emails, phone calls. Where is it going? Is it going to manufacturing plants, one plant, a couple plants? They won't tell me, but I've had 11 phone calls from the guy from Texas, Robert Bell, that is in charge of PP&L going around and getting the right-of-ways. He wants me to sign off. 11 phone calls, 3 times to the house, and I've had the surveyors there already, which this little old lady sent them off the property.
Okay.
Please come down and take a look at the Sugarloaf Valley.
Thank you,
See
ma'am.
what it's like. Thank you.
Next up, we have Annie Vinatieri.
Hi, good evening. Nice to be back. Thanks for all your work and the tedious fine points of county work. So I have a couple questions tonight. I'd like to circle back to what Councilman Haas had brought a connection to regarding this transmission line that will be extending 12 miles from the Berwick-Talon power plant next to the Amazon Web Services data center there, and then through the valley on up into the Sugarloaf Valley, not the Wyoming Valley, on up to Humboldt Industrial Park. So I have a couple questions regarding LERTA. I think maybe some of these, I saw them on the other part of the agenda, or I think part of the manager's agenda. But we have a lot of concerns. My first question to council would be, why did you grant something that would give away a lot of tax revenue for the county? This is not standard operating procedure in almost any other state in the union when it comes to granting, or well, when it comes to data center proliferation. Can anyone answer that?
The only thing I'll say is we did not give away any taxpayer money. The person who is purchasing the land and creating whatever facility in every LERTA that we grant is always paying the same property taxes on the land that they would be paying if the land wasn't developed, which is the main reason for the LERTA law, is to develop land that is not developable because of mine scarring and other things like that.
Okay, so maybe I should rephrase. I understand what you're saying. Projected tax revenue. That's tremendous projected tax revenue that would be denied with the granting of LERTA.
Deferred, but sure.
Well, it's not deferred because they can just, the place could be vacant after 10 years. Is that correct? There's no guarantee or bond on them staying there. Is that right?
In some cases, that's correct, yeah.
Okay. Why has there not been a requirement for local contractors to work there? I do believe, I don't know if it was, I believe it was Ms. Stevenson had possibly talked about local workers there. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Smith. Thank you. And what was the reasoning for that?
Do you have any, go ahead, Mr. Sabatino. Just so you know, you only have like 30 seconds left to speak, so I don't know if you want to have any.
Would you yield time since you?
We can't really do that,
But I can talk after the meeting.
Sure.
I'll explain that to you.
We can also talk after the meeting.
Sure. I'm happy to talk to anyone. Yeah, so since I only have 30 seconds left, I would just say this is part of the larger governor's agenda for the state. It's called Project Hazelnut. If you're not familiar with it, I encourage you to look it up on the PA.gov site. I think you'll find it very informative.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Sabatino, did you want to respond to the local worker
Sure.
issue?
Ms. Smith, rightfully so, proposed that. We, at the infrastructure committee meeting a couple weeks ago, worked out some language that needs to be submitted through Office of Law to make sure it's legal.
Sure.
And we will be proposing that in our next work session as a resolution.
I know
So-
we had mentioned before, like maybe be able to talk with your
Infrastructure committee.
It was infrastructure committee, and that's a
Yeah.
meeting in June.
In June.
Okay, and you'll be in touch with me about that.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Next up, we have Mr. Rabo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as with the redevelopment authority goes, I hope the council and the county manager and the administration understands that the county redevelopment authority over the years, and before I came on, it was a mess, obviously. But we inherited a mess and we made something of it. And we actually got the money that in most cases was owed to the county. I spearheaded some of them, and the county got its money. And I understand the county still wants the money from the projects from the past, and I don't blame the county manager for wanting that money. But I just want to caution the council and the manager and the administration, please don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because if you do that, you talk about infrastructure, the infrastructure of the county, not only presently, but going into the future, will suffer the consequences. It's not a threat, Mr. Chair. It's a fact. Because under state law, if you look at the preamble of the redevelopment law, it says that the county's redevelopment authorities are tasked with improving, preserving the quality of life in the municipalities that they serve. So, Mr. Chair, if you and the members of council and the county manager want to gut out the redevelopment authority and leave it for dead on the vine, dying on the vine, that's something you guys have to live with on your collective consciences. I'm just hoping that this is not going to be something that you live to regret. Please consider that. And as far as what goes on with Sugarloaf Township, I think those high-powered lines should be placed underneath the ground, deep underneath the ground, just as they do in the Great Lakes in the Midwest. I think that should be an area of consideration. I know this because I got certified out in the Midwest in Wisconsin, and they've done a bang-up job. They don't have any high-powered lines over their heads. So I think as far as what Manager Crocomo said about moving forward, I think that's something that PP&L should consider instead of seizing people's land and also putting high-powered lines, which does correlate, Mr. Chair. I don't know if you know this, but if you look at, I think it was back in the late 80s, early 90s, New England Journal of Medicine, which surgeons and most prominent doctors use, causes brain cancer.
Thank you, Mr.
So
Rabo.
I think that should be considered, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
for
Mr.
the-
Rabo.
Can I comment on that?
Mr. Thornton.
Just real quick, no one here on this council is looking to gut the redevelopment authority. I haven't talked to anybody here in the council that has even entertained that. I believe the redevelopment authority receives roughly $3 million a year from LSA money, and they also sitting on $55 million. We're not looking to gut the RDA. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else in the audience? Mr. Stout?
Thank you, Mr. Lombardo. I was going to get up for the public comment at the start of the meeting, but considering I work at Visit Luzerne County, I wasn't sure if that would be appropriate. And if the vote went the other way, I probably sort of left by now. So I just wanted to take a minute to really thank Luzerne County Management, Ramilda and Mary, and Harry, and everybody on the management side that took a look at purchasing the train station. And I really wanted to thank council tonight for approving that sale. I worked at the Bureau before we moved over on Public Square. And there is no there's no comparison to the difference that we see with people when they come into our office. Our old office was rather pedestrian. It kind of looked like you were going to see the dentist. Our new office is built in 1868. It's the historic Central Railroad of New Jersey. We did not have room in our old office to properly show the pride of Luzerne County. Today, if you walk into our office, you will see a big 7-foot replica of a waterfall at Ricketts Glen. You will see framed photographs, poster-sized photographs of the FM Kirby Center, the casino, Eckley's Miners Village, Rockin' the River, the Wyoming Monument, all these things that we're so proud of here and that we celebrate here in Luzerne County and that we market in Luzerne County as a place to visit and to come to live. The folks that had some opposition tonight, you know, we understand those questions and we respect those questions that had to be asked, and you know that's something that we expected tonight. But I just want to again thank you. If you ever wondered why, and I didn't realize this till I was much older because it was all before my time. Why is there a bridge over the middle of Wilkes-Barre when there's no water? The South Street Bridge. Why? I never even bothered to question why it was there until a couple of years ago. It's because everything basically from what is now what we would call Wilkes-Barre Boulevard over to Pennsylvania Boulevard was rail yards. The Lehigh, a beautiful train station on the corner of what is now the Genetti's parking lot, gone. The Laurel Line, where the Times Leader building now is, gone. The Central Railroad of New Jersey building is the last standing railroad in the city that serves as a testament to the great railroad history of the city. And there could not be a better place for a visitors bureau. I tell people all the time on our staff, we are in the business of promoting attractions. What better place for us to work than in an attraction? People come just to see us. They come into our building. We have people outside taking pictures, not only the 104-year-old railroad history of the building, but as a lot of us in this room probably know, the 25-year history of the nightclub and restaurant. We have people that come into our office and they literally say, I met my wife right there, I met my husband right there. And so, you know, for us to sort of be the keepers of the flame now and know that that building is going to be properly reserved and it's going to be the home of the Visitors Bureau for generations to come, long after we're all gone, is something I wanted to be here tonight to thank you for very much.
Thank you, Mr. Stout. Anybody else in the audience? Public comment?
Can I make public comment now?
Yes, you can, Mr. Kavlowski.
Get ready, guys, you might have to haul me out.
Okay.
This is your live action reporter and Luzerne County taxpayer. Even though I'm behind on my taxes, I am catching up. But I think this gentleman here said something about the redevelopment authority, said how they're here to help improve and make things better. Well, the situation that I brought to your attention, Mrs. Crocomo gave me her number. I'm going to talk to her, and also I'd like to talk to the district attorney to find out. For 5 years, this project out there in Ashley, this property, has been held up. 5 years, and the thing that really stinks is a lady gets off the board, and all of a sudden she ends up wanting to buy this property for 5 years. I don't know if it's criminal. I don't know if it's ethical. I don't know if it's right, but right now, from what he just said, it hasn't been fair to the taxpayers of Luzerne County that this lady has been lollygagging around with this property out there when another person wants to buy it, pay more money for it, and yet here we are. It's still going on and on and on. He said it. The redevelopment authority is supposed to make it better, but you have the citizens in Carey's Patch and Ashley don't want another 1 million square foot warehouse in their area. Some of those people have lived there generation after generation, and all of a sudden, they're gonna put this warehouse in. And there's something going on with this rail line, where this is very important for her to get this rail line, from what I'm told. I'm gonna talk to Mrs. Crockmo, and I wanna sit down with the district attorney to take a look at this. Something's wrong. Why would you hold this up for 5 years? It's ridiculous. And maybe they have the perfect excuse. Mr. Lindy said I could come to the next redevelopment authority meeting, and I will. And if Mr. Halliday, he couldn't make it tonight, or he would be here talking too. He made his piece at a public meeting when Mrs. Kipe, I guess her name is, or Carol Kipe, made her speech to the people, and the people soundly told her, we don't want a warehouse in our town of Ashley. And I don't know what you could do to help me. I don't know what you could do to the redevelopment authority. Is there a way to get rid of the redevelopment authority, Mr. Skeen? Is that your name? Or do something about this? Because it's just for 5 years, they've held this thing has been held up.
Mr. Skeen is right there.
Oh,
Attorney
I'm
Skeen.
sorry. I thought you were Mr. Skeen.
That's
Hi,
Mr.
Harry.
Sabatino. His name tag is
I'm
there.
sorry.
Why are you insulting Jim Sabatino?
I'm sorry, Jim. I'm sorry. But I think we got to take a look at this, and something has to be done. It's time to keep Ashley the way Ashley wants to be, and they don't want another 1 million square foot warehouse being put up by some millionaire who's going to make all kind of money on her, what they're going to do. But Mrs. Crockamo said I can meet with her, and I like to meet with the district attorney, and to look into this. Is it a criminal thing? Is it an ethical
All right.
thing?
Thank you, Mr.
Whatever.
Kalabowski.
I know. And another, just real quick.
No, you're.
Okay,
We got-
but
you
it's
had your 3
really
minutes.
unfair that people only get 3 minutes to talk there. That's
Okay.
how you lose your freedoms in the United States, one little piece at a time. And I know
Okay.
you got other people want to talk, but 3 minutes is an insult to the taxpayers of this county. You can
Okay.
only talk for 3 minutes.
You got
Thank you,
another
Mr.
3 minutes later. That's 9.
Yeah.
9
I
minutes.
understand, but not all at once.
No,
Okay.
9 minutes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kalabowski.
I wish I was still towing. I'd like to tow you in, spend some time with you.
Okay. Anybody else in the audience
I think there
for
was a
public comment? Anybody? All right. We have one hand up on the Zoom. It's a phone number. Please state your name and your municipality once you've been unmuted.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, this is Brian Kinney Jr. calling from Ross Township.
What's your last name, sir?
Kinney, Kinney.
Thank you.
Jr.
Okay, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, I was just calling about the. It's known as the bike lane out here. I think the formal name is the Broadway Road CR65 Safety and Connectivity Project. I could be wrong. I'd just like to voice an opinion. It seems like a lot of the locals out here got blindsided by it. My wife and I have only been here for 2 years. We've been in the area, me for, 36 years. And this bike lane, this proposed bike lane, is going to go over about a 1 mile stretch of road that encompasses something known as Ledge Hill. And out here, if you've been, in this general area for any length of time, Ledge Hill is known as a dangerous spot. It's where, if you're a kid, your parents say, don't take Ledge Hill till you're ready to drive on it. Be safe. Don't ride your bikes on it, literally. This is a place, it's very dangerous. It has a literal cliff face on one side and a drop-off on the other. A lot of stormwater issues here flowing off, as you would imagine, off of a rock face. And this bike lane appears to begin at this place known as Ledge Hill. Now, this is, imagine propane trucks, heavy equipment, people pulling, stuff. There's tractors, old vintage tractors like Ford 8Ns carrying hay going down this. And on a good day, they're having to split lanes to make the turns. And the turns are 3 blind turns in quick succession. So imagine like a racetrack that has an S. It's blind turn, then blind turn, then blind hill turn, all baked into one section. And we're going to put a bike lane through that. That is the most highly suspect approach I think I've heard, and I'm afraid of what would happen inevitably on that stretch of road. Nobody's looking for bikes. I don't see bikes. I'm here every day. It's wild. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Manager Croquemore, did you want to maybe explain that a little bit and why the bike lanes are being placed on that road? I know we've had questions about it before.
Correct. First of all, it was a multimodal grant, which we actually received the entirety of the grant, which is very unusual. And we do put on our work sessions and on our voting sessions approval from council. There's public discussion. It's public when we apply for these grants. It was publicized, number one. So if people follow county council business, and I really encourage people to do that, they would see that information is public, number one. Number two, bikes can use that road right now. People walk on that road right now. And we're doing this project with PennDOT, and Nick will give you more details, but we have the engineer from PennDOT. We met with Ross Township. We were there for a kind of impromptu town hall meeting on this very issue. There were people who were vocally against it, but there were also people who are thanking us for putting in a bike lane, because the bike lane makes drivers aware that there could be bikes and there could be pedestrians walking on that road. So this has all been vetted. It's been done by engineers from PennDOT, and it actually will increase the safety on that road. Nick?
Yeah, totally agree. The gentleman is right. That stretch of roadway is very dangerous, given that it's so tight. But with the bike lanes going in, you're going to get an extra 5 to 6 feet to get by there. And there's a lot of trucks going past there. This is a big safety improvement for this road. It's very tight, windy. And again, there's not going to be Tour de France here. If people wanted to use the bike lanes, it's there. If you don't want to use them, there's more room for safety on the roadway.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vogt.
We put similar bike lanes on our county roads.
West County.
West County Road, and that has really improved that roadway. So the bike lanes are actually improving the roadway, and that road needs to be fixed. And we got a multimodal grant, and I'm not inclined to send any money back to Harrisburg because we will lose that money. We cannot repurpose that money.
I actually just have one thing to ask a clarification question. Is the bike lane a provision of the multimodal grant
Yes.
that we need need the bike lanes in
Yes.
them? Okay.
Yes.
All right. That's yes. I know I've heard that before.
Yeah,
but
if
I
we
just
don't
wanted to
put the
make
bike
sure.
lane in, the money goes back to Harrisburg.
Thank you. Okay.
Right.
Okay. We have one more public comment. Mr. Walsh.
How you doing, Mr. Chairman?
Good, Mr. Walsh.
I just wanted to call in. I'm getting a lot of phone calls this week regarding Main Road Sweet Valley, and I wasn't going to say anything tonight, but I saw Nick was there. Nick, do you know when Main Road Sweet Valley, when that if we can, number one, we need some patching and done out here. It's really bad, and I know the county's behind because of the miserable weather we've had the last few weeks. But the potholes out here on Main Road are terrible. So I told people I would check into when we could get some maintenance done out here, and then second, when the Main Road Sweet Valley project is going to start out here. The second reason I'm calling in, Council, you've had a few people speak tonight regarding the Sugarloaf Township area, the Cunningham Valley area. We need all hands on deck. We've got pretty much all elected officials from the state level. We've got federal elected officials involved. And our urgency right now with council is due to the fact that once this project is submitted to the PUC, in its current form, it's going to be a lot more difficult, and that's coming up real soon. And I would hope that maybe anyone that lives near the Cunningham Valley could come out and see the project and where it's going and really fully understand it. Because there is an alternate route that PPL can take that would be very less disruptive to the community, disruptive to the individual property owners, and it's a viable solution. It's a win-win solution. And there's nothing wrong with economic development. But when you're going to destroy 50 properties over a 12-mile stretch, it's very invasive. And I've been involved with this since the beginning of March, and I would love for anyone from council that would like to come out and take a little tour. We could schedule it on a Saturday morning or an evening since it's light later. And let's get it on the schedule here as soon as possible, please, because we need all hands on deck to ask PPL to take the alternate route. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Sabatino, and then Mr. Vogt, if you want to respond to his first question.
Representative Walsh, this is Jimmy Sabatino, one of your constituents. I would love to take you up on your offer to tour this area. I would also like to ask you to have somebody from the PUC come and meet with the folks from Sugarloaf in person, and anything that you would need from me to help facilitate that, I'd be glad to help you out with that. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Vogt, you want to respond to his first question?
Yep. We've been getting a lot of complaints. We're taking them down, going down the list as they're coming in. Main Road is on the list, Mr. Walsh. Probably later this week or early next, we'll be getting to that. We're just finishing up Lower Des Moines. So we're going to go from Lower Des Moines down to Main Road in Sweet Valley, back up to Back Mountain, and then back over to the Crestwood. So getting a lot of complaints. We're getting to them. All I ask is for a little bit of patience. We will get to them. And then Main Road, that project's ready to go. We're just waiting on the HUD requirements package. We just finished our environmental clearance through HUD, and then once that's complete, we'll be bidding that out, hopefully this summer.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Vogt. All right.
Sure.
Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
Thank you. Representative Walsh, this is Councilwoman Smith speaking, and I echo Councilman Sabatino's words. I feel like we gave them an opportunity in good faith, and they're acting in not so good faith. So I also, if you need anything, please contact me. I'd be happy to help.
Okay. All right. Any other public comment? Motion? Second?
Oh, can we motion to adjourn in memory of Tom Woods?
Absolutely.
And a lot of older residents remember him on WARM radio before my time. I remember WARM, but I don't remember Tommy being on the on there personally. But if you knew Tom Woods, he was just such an incredibly decent man. He was such a great member of the community and husband and father too. So hats off to Tom Woods. We need more like him.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Meeting's adjourned. We will return at 8 o'clock, 7:52.
It's air conditioning.
Hello.
We don't have sun this summer anymore.
It's nice in here. Come on. Short sleeves.
Where are you going? Where are you going? You went to the men's room.
I'm gonna run back. I haven't since I left home this afternoon.
You better go.
Yeah. Maybe I'll keep going when I get out.
Ray from Congress of Ministers. We've had Senator Olver, Senator McCormick. Yeah, that's Nate Gerace is his representative. Who do you have down there so far? Yeah, so Jamie Walsh, Dane Washoe. We've had two representatives from North Point Development out at my house. We kind of start at my house. We give them a tour then of all types of problems that are going on. And did I tell you Senator Culver came out too? Linda came out. So we all met individually, and so now we're hoping that they form kind of a union to kind of pressure PBL. We're asking them to take, and I won't bore you with all this tonight, but we're asking them to take an alternate line, an alternate route. And it makes perfect sense.
Leanne,
We proved it to them.
What in the world can
But
we
for
do
some
about
reason, they're
BP&L?
being stubborn.
Like,
No.
just
Well, that
just
would be a
join
wonderful
them
option, but
and
we don't
complain?
think that would
I mean,
be
is that thing,
unfavorable at all. This is creating an electrical corridor,
Yeah.
so Sugarloaf Valley has one.
That's pretty bad.
major
That's
power
that's
line
ruthless.
to it now.
I mean, that's
30 kilovolt line.
right.
Goes
I mean,
back.
of course, that's
We want them
horrible.
to parallel that with this 500 kilovolt line to create a utility
Taking-
corridor, which they do all over the state,
That's
all over the
crazy.
country, as a matter of fact.
And plus, they have an alternative.
And they're
You know, I mean, I don't know much about.
because they have existing right of ways.
Well, I don't know. But that's what they're saying. It's better than this.
It's probably less expensive. So that's kind of the, you know.
Is it building it by the plant they're putting up?
But like if you were
In
willing to
Humboldt?
meet, Jimmy's running drums,
I don't
if he's
know.
willing to meet.
I don't know. Greg, what's the alternative to PP&L? Oh,
Yeah, no. It could happen.
Not Jamie, I'm sorry. TJ Fitzgerald was taking his shoes off and showing us his amputated toes. You have no idea what can happen in this world. Can you read that?
I can, yes. Yeah.
Because the only person, I saw everyone taking notes on their computer, but everybody was shopping. And I was like, if I bring my computer, I won't learn anything. So I was one of two kids in my entire class that had really notes. But it meant that I had to really fast.
Really
So
fast.
I never
But you could
remembered.
read it, right?
I can read it. I'm fine. Once in a very, very, very great while, I'm like, but no, I can read it, but it has my handwriting recovered. So as long as you can read that.
I can read it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll talk to you, and I don't know if you could talk to some of the others, maybe if they want to come up, they're welcome to come up.
I'm actually rather sit in the area. I'd actually rather sit in the area.
Yep. Yes, absolutely.
Because we feel, and I alluded to it in my statement, but spoke about why we get this tax rate. And part of it is people don't know that so it is a rule for them. Improving. Especially for this data. That counties around here, she said it wasn't more of a procedure anymore. During, like, in Oklahoma, you know,
Council members, it's 7:59. Please take your seats so we can get started here.
who were here, you know, I said, well, we need your help. Like, you guys are gonna stand and make a lot of money up there, and now the people of Sugarloaf, we need your help. We're not asking you to stop it, we're just asking to relocate it.
All right, everybody, please take your seats so we can get the work session started. All right, everybody. I'd like to call the work session to order. We've had the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Roll call, please, Ms. Lawrence.
Mr. Haas?
Here.
Ms. Krishnowski? Here. Mr. Liscavige? Here. Ms. McDermott?
Here.
Mr. Perry? Here. Mr. Sabatino?
Here.
Ms. Smith? Here. Ms. Stevenson? Mr. Thornton?
Here.
Mr. Wilovich?
Here.
Mr. Lombardo?
Here.
Right now, you have 10 of 11, but Ms. Stevenson is here somewhere.
She's out there. Yeah. All right. Any additions or deletions from the work session agenda?
If I could, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
One change and one addition, if I may. Could we move the number 10 and put that before number 7? I think it's germane to what number 7 is. It's the alert requests from coming out of the Infrastructure Committee.
Okay.
And then if we could also add number 11, CCAP registrations for the summer conference, which everybody's been receiving emails. That'll take literally a minute. And that's all I have.
All right.
CCAP registrations for summer conference.
Yeah. Harry made the motion for those two changes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Changes are made. Is there, you guys still, number 10 is moved to spot number, it would be 7. And then everything is, no, that's not combined, because they're two different discussions. And then everything else is moved down. And then adding number 11, CCAP registration for summer conference. Is everybody okay with their first and second on the? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is adopted. All right. First, we have budget reports.
Hi, good evening. I'm presenting the budget reports for the month of April, which are included in your packet. Your first report is the revenue report. Our revenue earned is at 42% of the budget, or $70,379,770. Our current year tax collections at the end of April are at $59.9 million, which represents 49% of the current year tax revenue budget. Our expenses are at $36,135,022, or 23% of the budget. Next is your listing of the budget transfers, followed by the accounts payable detail report. The last report is the treasurer's report, showing a cash balance of $167,628,790 at the end of April. The cash balance at the end of March was $125,768,558. Our interest earned for the month is $342,534. Of that, ARPA accounts for $184,438. Our year-to-date interest through April is $1,458,450. The ARPA cash balance sits at $41,970,787. The ARPA interest earned year-to-date is $782,745, and the ARPA interest earned in total since inception is at $8.5 million. One additional item that I want to mention was the Government Study Commission, since there were several emails circulating over the last week or so. The budget requests that were submitted by the treasurer of the Government Study Commission were $75,000 for 2024 and then $185,000 for 2025. So these amounts were added in total to the respective county budgets. For 2025, the original budget, as I said, was $185,000. In that amount, there was a miscellaneous line item of $39,600 included, which was described by the treasurer as being requested for overages for the solicitor and consultant and other unforeseen expenses, which was basically a cushion that was included in the budget at that time. Over the past few weeks, there were emails circulated that there was a potential increase that was going to be requested. The government study chair, Mr. Ritzik, and I reviewed the budget and year-to-date spending, and at this point do not believe any budget increase is needed. The year-to-date spending is at $68,162.45 of the total $185,000 budget. So that leaves a remaining budget balance of $116,837.55. So there may need to be a budget transfer at some point that will move money between line items within the budget. But if Mr. Ritzik, based on what he's projecting for the rest of the year, neither one of us believe that there is a budget amendment that's going to be needed. So does anyone have any questions about that or any of the monthly reports?
Any questions from council members? Mr. Haas?
I just want to comment, just thanks, Romilda, for bringing our attention to that. I really appreciate that. Got that email, too. And Ms.
Yeah.
Rozelle for dialoguing with Chairman Ritzik. I will say, and I really appreciate you putting the budget transfers. I know I asked that last year, and I looked that over. It's a great, quick way to see where we're going. Noticing, everybody, page 66, extradition costs. Looks like we're way ahead, and we're only halfway through the year. So it's a question for the DA, but he's not here tonight, so just something to be concerned about. Just the budget transfer sheet, page 66. That's all.
Yeah, I'm sure if anyone has any questions about the budget transfers, you could also email me or the respective departments, and we'd be happy to answer those questions for you.
Absolutely. Yep, thank you.
I want to thank Mary Rozelle for working with the Government Study Commission to figure out their budgeting. I also want to state unequivocally that I do not allow staff members to cushion the budget.
Thank you, Manager Crocomo. Any other questions for Ms. Rozelle on that topic? Okay, next we have the Budget and Finance 2025 first quarter report.
Okay, IT is going to move through the slides as we go through the presentation.
Okay.
Thank you. So in accordance with Section 8.04 of the Luzerne County Code, I'm presenting the 2024 Luzerne County First Quarter Budget and Finance Report. Next slide. Next. Okay. This slide is the budget by account classification report. This slide shows the major revenue and expense components. As of March 31st, the general fund revenues are at 13% and expenses are at 18%. Total revenue is at $22,023,571. The largest revenue component is the tax revenue of $16.2 million, followed by the transfers of $3 million and the fees of $1.5 million. The tax revenue is $8 million lower than at the end of March in 2024, which is due to timing. In the month of April, collections were $46.3 million in tax revenue, so for a total of $59.9 million, which is 49% of the budget. So we already have half of our budgeted revenues collected. Transfers and reimbursements are reimbursements to the general fund for expenses relating to other funding sources. So for example, healthcare, insurance, retirement, bills billed to human service agencies, 911, and other non-general fund sources. Total expenditures are $27,655,734. The largest component being personnel costs, followed by non-personnel costs such as prisoner health care, other contractual services, which are mainly in operations, and insurance expense. Transfers out are for county match requirements for the human service agencies, as well as our LCC quarterly apportionment and LCTA. Next. This slide compares revenue totals from 2024 and 2025. At this point last year, revenue was $28,984,174, and again, 2024 revenue to date is approximately $5 million below last year due to timing of the real estate tax collections. Next. This slide is a graph that shows the revenue components other than taxes. I discussed several of these items already, but I'll expand on a few others. So we talked about the transfers already, which is the last three lines on that graph, like the highest revenue portion there. Grants are a little bit lower than 24 due to some grant opportunities that we realized in 24 for a SCAP grant at the prison, which we do not have in 2025. Rent revenue decreased slightly in 25 due to the loss of Representative Cartwright's office space at Penn Place. And there's some timing issues there too. Fines and fees from judicial services increased overall. And interest is lower due to lower cash balances because we did not take a tran this year. So we saved money on the interest expense side, but we also lost money on the interest revenue side. But overall, we saved money. Next. Okay, next, this slide highlights a few more points regarding our revenue numbers. So tax revenue for 2025 is budgeted at $131,413,000. So it's approximately $2 million lower than what we budgeted for 2024. That's mainly driven by the large decline in tax revenue from the Wyoming Valley Mall and a few other, large properties. We lost $56.1 million in the assessed value just from the mall alone. From a collection standpoint, collections do fluctuate. So this year we had a really big April. Last year we had a bigger March. So again, we're still at 50%, almost at 50% at this point. Our 2025 taxes were mailed out on February 19th. So we print approximately 34,000 tax bills. Our discount ended on 4/18. No in-person payments were actually accepted in the treasurer's office through that Monday, 4/18, 4/21, because 4/18 was actually a holiday. In addition to the taxes being collected by tax collectors and in person by the treasurer's office, we also do online payments. And so the online payments this year so far totaled $1,348,641, which is slightly higher than last year. We also collect taxes now in our Hazelton office. So for the first quarter, we collected 969 tax bills totaling $537,397. A TRAN, or a tax revenue anticipation note, as I said, was not needed in 2025, so that saved the county approximately $300,000 in interest. Next. Okay, this slide compares our expense totals from 2024 and 2025. As of 3/31, our expenses were at $27,655,794. At this point last year, expenses totaled $24,598,192. This is higher than last year at this time due to some personnel costs. There's some timing with uniform allowances for the prison. Transfers out actually also increased by $2.3 million due to just timing of payments, like the LCC payment. It was paid in April last year. We paid it in March this year. So there's just some timing differences there. Next. The American Rescue Plan funds, or the ARPA funds, the county received $112,890,152. During the first quarter of this year, $5.7 million were spent, and in the first quarter of last year, it was $6.9 million. Since inception, we have earned $8.5 million in ARPA interest, and $598,307 was earned in the first quarter of 2025. We also are tracking our opioid settlement funds. So our settlement payments received so far as of March 31st total $11,747,996.13. Our total funds that we have obligated as of 3/31 are $3,243,277.74, and our actual disbursements so far are $1,204,945. We've, to date, as of March 31st, have earned interest on the opioid settlement funds of $364,823.98. To summarize, we're in a good place financially. We're on track with respect to our 2025 budget and monitoring the expenses, each and every day. Does anyone have any questions about the presentation or any other financial
Sabatino.
questions?
Quick question about the opioid settlement fund interest.
Sure.
Is that like the ARPA where it has to be spent by a certain time, or can it be spent on anything? Does it have to be spent on like opioid specific?
It does not. It can be spent on anything, and we do not have a date that it has to be spent by.
Perfect, thank you.
Just reminding you, it's a settlement, it's not a grant, so that there's not
Right.
that deadline, like the ARPA grant.
Any other questions from council members?
I have a quick question.
Mr. Thornton, then Mr. Liscavige, you have something? Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, regarding the ARPA fund interest, I know here it's $598,307 earned of interest in the first quarter of this year. Earlier, you said it was 700 and some thousand to date, year to date.
Right, because those reports were the first set of reports I
Right.
talked to you about were as of April.
Right.
This is as of March, because it's for the first quarter.
So, and I see the total interest from the very beginning, $8.5 million.
Mhm.
With this new interest added to whatever existing interest we had left prior to 2025, how much interest is there now sitting there?
That we can still expend, or that we have not allocated to anything, is that what you're saying?
Right, that's not earmarked.
About $1 million.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Roselle. Okay. Next up, discussion regarding resolution enacting a veteran real estate tax exemption for non-wartime veterans and surviving spouses. I know some council members had more questions about this. So we decided to put it back on the work session agenda. Mr. Clocker is not here.
He's not here, but
Okay.
Mary, you sent the tally. We got the number of prospective veterans that might be. Do we send that out? Okay, well, you want to share
Sorry
that?
to call you back up here.
She wants to get her steps in.
Going to be sick of hearing from me. Did I not turn? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So we asked Mr. Clocker to give us a list of those people that would be affected, and we actually looked up the taxes, the county taxes on those individuals as of, that day. Now, it's a changing number, right? It changes every day, because what he said is that he couldn't guarantee how many people were actually eligible, just how many people had called him and, he knew about, that would be eligible. So the total of the county taxes at face value, assuming they pay at face value, is $14,660. and 13 cents. And the number of people are like 19 people. So I can send you the actual list. I mean, it does have everyone's name and address and the parcel number and all of that on it, if anyone's interested in seeing that, but we just asked him for that so we could quantify it a little more.
I personally think just the number and the actual budget number is what's most important.
Okay.
So what was it, 14,000?
14,660.13.
Okay. All right.
Again, as of like
Right.
last week. I mean, that number is probably different today if someone called and asked about the program. I mean, it all depends.
Right. Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
Of course, it changes every day, but we're not talking huge changes, right?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think so, but I don't know. I'm not, that's really, I did ask that question when Mr. Clarker gave me the information, but he said the same thing too. He has no control over how many people call about the program. So
Sure.
I didn't get, any more information than that.
And I mean, okay. Out of, I think we have, 336,000 people in Luzerne County. 19 is not a large number. And what percentage of the budget is 14,660?
Oh, it's
Are you
no,
math, like, aren't you? I look at you and I see that like.
I mean,
that
it's point
mean-
zero zero zero.
Right,
I mean, I'm
exactly.
like,
That's my point.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
drop in the bucket.
It's-
Okay,
no,
but thank
very
you
small.
very much.
Very small.
Mr. Thornton.
Yeah, this probably more appropriate maybe for Mr. Clocker. He's not here. But if anybody knows the answer to this question or these questions. I sent them out in an email last week. First of all, let me state unequivocally, I'm 100% in favor of waiving the taxes for 100% disabled veterans. I'm in favor of that. It's a great program. I have no concern whatsoever on the front end. My concerns all revolve around the back end, meaning 10, 15, 20 years from now, 30 years from now. We're including spouses, married spouses, which is great. The veteran passes away, let's say it was a male, the wife continues to receive the benefit. That's great.
She gets remarried.
She passes away. The children, adult children or adult child lives in the house, chooses never to notify our offices here. It just stays on as tax waiver for indefinitely. I don't, and that's one example. Another example is the veteran remarries, has an ex-wife, maybe the house deed was in both their names, and it could get like kind of sticky. I'm just looking at years down the road, not initially giving the tax waiver. I'm in favor of that. I'm not sure if the federal agencies from Washington or the state agencies out of Harrisburg automatically notify someone in this county or some agency of all these occurrences when these deaths occur and other people are taking over the property. I'm just worried about what happens 10, 20 years from now with those things. And how is that communicated to the departments across our county offices? That's my concern. Maybe.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's updated all the time, that can't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where does he get that? Yeah, so where does he get that list from?
He said it goes from us to the state, to the feds, back to the state, back to, like,
Okay.
it's double checked in all three places.
Okay. So that'll never happen in
Yeah,
any
he
kind of
was rather
fraud or
clear.
anything like that. Okay, all right.
I mean, there's always people, I guess, who figure out loopholes, but
Yeah.
he was to me, he was very clear that there are multiple checks, multiple times.
I can tag on to what you were asking about, Brian, and maybe if I could, Mr.
Yeah,
Chair, is that all
absolutely.
right?
Mr. House.
So I'm looking here at actually 5 Pennsylvania counties extend the veterans exemption beyond the state program. I'm sure Mr. Clocker knows that, but if he listens to the recording, Potter
He's on.
County.
He's on.
Oh,
He's on
hey,
the-
Mr. Clocker.
Yeah.
Potter County, Pike County, Montgomery, Bucks, and Lebanon. So that's a very diverse group. So you've got
Yes.
Montgomery and Bucks or Philadelphia, extremely high populated counties. Potter is one of the least populated counties in the northern tier. Pike is the biggest growing county. In the east, we know where that's one of our neighbors there. In Lebanon County, kind of rural, and I think a place where a lot of veterans probably call home right there. You've got the Fort Indiantown Gap facility down there too. So I think it's something we should do. Other people are doing it, and we're one of the trailblazers, I think, so that's off to us for considering it.
Lackawanna County also, sorry, but, yeah, they also.
Well, you know, I'm biased. I'm pro Luzerne County, so. Good job,
Any other,
Lackawanna.
any other questions regarding this?
When they pay for their airstrip.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Next up, number 4, discussion regarding resolution requesting a multimodal transportation fund grant from Pennsylvania Commonwealth Financing Authority.
So we're putting in a multimodal grant transportation from the Pennsylvania Commonwealth Financing Authority for Orange Road in Franklin Township, 2.3 miles, which is the duration and length of Orange Road. It's the full length. We'll be doing full depth reclamation, drainage work, and putting in the bike lanes. We're asking for $2.7 million, with the county match being $300,000 from our liquid fuels account. Any questions?
Excellent. And again, the bike lane is same thing as the previous road we discussed. That's
Yep. Mandated with the multimodal grant.
Got it. Okay. Any questions from council members regarding that? All right. Thank you very much. Number 5, discussion regarding ordinance authorizing Secretary of Transportation to acquire rights of ways necessary for the Water Street Bridge project.
Hello again. We're just getting to the right-of-way section of the project for the Water Street Bridge in Pittston, and in order for us to do that, we have to approve this ordinance giving PennDOT the rights to our right-of-way of that bridge. Any questions?
Ms. Smith?
What long-term, I can't think of the word, I'm sorry, I'm tired. Yes, thank you very much, Greg. Ramifications, perfect. I don't know why that was hard. What the long-term ramifications are, would be seen from giving them the right-of-way at that point?
Once the project's over, it comes back.
They revert.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
just so that you're aware, we turned over the bridge because of the bundle project. We turned over the bridge to PennDOT. So this is.
Can we not take
part
it
of-
back?
Oh, you
I mean,
you have
do
to
you
talk
want
to them. Believe me, I try to convince them about that.
So for all intents and purposes, it's their bridge at this moment
Yes.
in time? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
And we did that because they're paying for almost the whole project. Yeah.
Yes.
Do we still pay for the lights on the bridge?
Yes, we.
The power, I mean the physical street lights that are on
The
at night.
streetlights, yes.
Okay.
But, well, when when the bridge is finished, it will be actually a very beautiful bridge, and we will take care of it.
Fantastic.
As long as we have a good maintenance plan.
We will.
All right. Any other questions? Ms. Smith?
I'm not sure if you have any idea about this, Nick, but at the presentation a little while ago, probably last spring maybe even, the people who were running the bridge gave a presentation, and they indicated that the reason that this is taking so long is because of permits. Do you have any idea what state those permits are in? You might not.
Not off the top of my head, but there are a lot of surveys, inspections, and stuff that makes this a delayed, prolonged
Right. 'Cause
process.
People are asking, why is it taking so long?
Yeah, I mean, I can get you an answer, for sure.
If you
Yep.
wouldn't mind.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you very
Thank
much. Next up, discussion regarding resolution authorizing the submission of a Growing Greener Plus Grants Program application to the Department of Environmental Protection. Oh, nope. Turned off.
Now it is.
There we go.
Yeah, the planning department's seeking a grant from DEP in order to update the Act 167 stormwater plan. It hasn't been updated since 2010. So the first steps of that is to go for a phase 1, a grant to perform the phase 1 process, which is the scope of the stormwater plan. We're asking for a $50,000 grant from DEP. There is a 25% match, but that can be done with in-kind services from county staff.
Any questions?
In kind. It's a local match, but we could do it with in-kind services. Yep.
What would the stormwater plan consist of exactly? I'm not, I mean, generally understand, but just if you can rattle off a couple things.
So I'm relatively new to the stormwater planning realm, but so essentially what it is, it's part of the 1978, an act from 1978 that requires stormwater planning for watersheds, and then it expanded to municipalities and counties as a whole.
Right.
It's to minimize pollutants basically going into runoff.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this particular plan that we haven't had since, what, 2011?
2010, it was, but it was an unfunded mandate in
Right,
order.
but this has to do, this will help with the flooding in the back mountain.
Yes.
So I was at a meeting which was really run by Senator Baker and Representative Pugh, and municipality leaders were there, and our EMA was there as well. So this plan that we need to do will prevent flooding in the back mountain, and it may actually extend throughout flood zones in Luzerne County.
All right. Any other questions? Mr. Haas?
If I could, Mr. Chair, just a comment too. I think the average citizen doesn't realize that they can do mitigation efforts on their own, in their own backyard, and it can reduce the amount of that stormwater tax as well. I don't think there's enough PR out there about that. Putting things like rain barrels at the end of your gutters, or emptying your drainage into your yard as opposed to your driveway or the curb. So, yeah, and I just wish there were more of a forum to get that out to the regular average citizen out there. I don't know if WBSA or their entities are doing so much of that part, but it's kind of what we're doing at the county level, just bigger yards, bigger barrels.
I do know that I actually took one of their pamphlets regarding the rain barrels a couple months ago when I was at some event that they were at, and I looked into it. And I think they'll actually, I want to say they may just give them to you.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
And that's not my call, but when they get the yearly bill, it might be a good place to do it.
Sure.
Just a comment.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Anything else? Any other questions? All right. Thank you. Okay. Oh dear. Okay. There we go. All right. Next up, discussion regarding resolution establishing a standardized fee for abatement schedule for future LRTA requests. All right, Mr. Sabatino, since this came from your committee.
At our last infrastructure committee meeting, we passed this. There is one change that I didn't make. Under number 2, manufacturing and tech-based development, it should read as 0 in year 10, not year 11. The reason why we've talked about this as a council many, many times is to put a fee schedule out to the world so that they know where we're coming from and what we're expecting from developers. This schedule was just debated by us pretty hotly for a couple minutes there. I think that meeting ran, about an hour, where we talked about this, along with certain language that we'd like to include in LRTA resolutions, which will be coming at a later work session. I'm happy to answer any questions any council members may have.
Mr. Wilovich?
Yes, I think it'd be a good idea to have some clearer definitions of warehousing, logistics, development, manufacturing, and tech-based, so that way we know exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, we can work on that at the next infrastructure meeting.
Mr. Liscavige?
The only thing I say with this is, I think you still have to do it individually, on an individual basis. There may be projects that you're dying to get into this county. There's other things that you really don't care if they come here, but if they're willing to pay more, then so be it. But I don't think you can have a cookie cutter number, because I think it's gonna be tough with different scopes of projects,
Well, we discussed this at council that we should publicize a fee schedule, many times. And I try to keep it general, and that's why there's no greater definitions in there. Warehousing and logistics is not something that the committee felt like we should be out there trying to use the LRTA as a tool to bring development in the future. So that's why we gave them a different schedule than other types of development. But we also discussed potentially a schedule for housing, but we eventually decided that that was a per case basis. So there are things out there that we agree need to be done on a per case basis, but these are the development projects that have been coming forward to us. And that's why we addressed them specifically. And I mean, I'm willing to put myself on the record saying that I'll never vote for another warehousing LRTA again. So if anybody out there in the world is listening, I will never vote for another warehousing LRTA again, but there might be other council members who would want that development here. And that's why we didn't just say, you know, we're not doing warehousing LRTAs. So this is why we brought this here, so we can get the full council's opinion. We could send it back to, take your opinions, send it back to committee and work on another, you know, resolution and bring it back again.
I just
Oh,
think.
go ahead. Go ahead, Mr.
I
Liscavige,
just,
sorry.
You know, expand on what you're saying, that you'll never vote for another LRTA. If a fantastic one got.
No, a warehousing
warehouse. But if it was a fantastic one with high-paying jobs, why would you turn that away from this county?
Well, it'd have to be really high-paying jobs, and there have to be a really tight guarantee for high-paying jobs in that LRTA.
I'm just saying, though,
Yeah.
I don't think we could ever have that language, never.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a really great developer out there, they'd have to really come through with some substantial money to help fix roads and bridges in these industrial parks. Because as you heard, we're projecting to spend $6 million in Hanover. And we gave, yeah, right. So we're trying to mitigate that by asking them for a development fee on top of it. Because they're coming in, they're getting 10 years or 5 under this, tax-free. So we're asking them for $5,000 an acre to help fix those sins of the past and prevent them from happening again in the future. So.
Ms. Smith?
Excuse me. I just wanted to address what Councilman Liscavige said about having a fee schedule that you just stick to. I don't think simply because we are advertising the ballpark we want to live in means that we have to live in it at every turn, right? I think this is a great idea to at least give them an idea of where we're coming from, but I don't think that it was your intention to say this is the only schedule that we'll ever approve, right?
No, and the council as a whole would have to approve it. So if this is a starting point for negotiation, then, you know, they know that we're not looking for warehousing development, and they may not find it's in their best interest to come and pay a lawyer to come to council and ask us for it. But they could still go to the school district and the other local municipality and get the other 2 legs of the LRTA. They don't necessarily have to come to us for the 3rd leg.
Mr. Thornton?
Yeah, initially I was concerned about having a rock-solid schedule, but I do see, which makes me happy, the clause, be it further resolved that the schedule shall be used as guidance for negotiating LRTA agreements going forward. I like that clause, because it's not, that doesn't mean the schedule's etched in stone. The one question I have, though, for the committee, I guess, Mr. Sabatino, when you come up with these schedules and the per acre development fee of, say, 5,000 for warehousing or 2,500 for the other type, was any of that compared to our county to the north or the county to the south to see what their fees are? I just want to make sure we're competitive with them, that's all.
They don't have the development fees for acreage normally.
Okay.
That's something that we have been approving recently as a council. So we felt as a committee to include that into the negotiating scheme.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, and County Manager Kokomo said earlier, we're going to spend $6 million to do the roads in the Hanover Industrial Park. We could, even if we took a portion of this development fee and put it towards that, we would mitigate the cost. So.
No, I'm not saying I'm against the fee, I'm just wondering if it would knock us right out of the box with competition with the north or south.
Well, as Councilman Haas is fond of saying, they're going to come here anyway, so we may as well get as much as we can out of it.
Well, we'll see. That's Mr. Haas's opinion. I mean, I certainly have a different opinion than Mr. Haas. but-
Always.
Right, the guidance, right. Okay. Starting point. Okay, yep, good, thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Perry. Mr. Perry, can you turn your mic on so that they can?
For putting a lot of work into this, and it's always a touchy subject, when we deal with LERTAs. So thanks for putting this together. I'm kind of like with Mr. Leskavich. I don't know if I can narrow it down to this, although we do have the option here. But are we going to turn some people away? I mean, that's what we want to do. That may happen. That may happen, and let's hope it doesn't happen too much. You know, because we can't draw a line. We don't know where it's going to lead us. Do you know, Jim, Mr. Falvello came in, and I don't have the figures off the top of my head. What was his development?
His development fee was $3,500 an acre.
Was it
And the
$3,500?
LERTA that we just approved for North Point for the data center was $2,500 an acre.
So we're in the ballpark.
We're in the ballpark. We didn't go crazy, but we wanted to make warehousing a little bit more
difficult.
a little bit more difficult, so we can prioritize, manufacturing and some tech development.
So, if I can make a comment really quick, and if anybody other council members have comments, they can make them. So I generally agree with what Mr. Leskavich said. I think that these need to be done on a case-by-case basis more than on, having a fee schedule. That's something that we've been doing, and I'm not a big fan of using the phrase, we've always done it that way, so let's keep doing it that way. But I think that we have had the ability to negotiate some of these LERTAs as we've been talking about them. And we have yet to, but we're about to realize a lot of the profits from some of those agreements that we have made. So I don't necessarily agree with this, and I do think that it's going to hamper us when it comes to development. I don't want to be turning away any economic development in Luzerne County at this moment in time. So I think that we do have people that are coming into this county. We have residents that need homes. I think that should definitely be a priority for us, and if we can entice a developer in that way, that would be amazing. I think that should be the hallmark of anything that we do if we're talking about tax abatements. I actually also think that we should be using the LERTA law for revitalization of older structures if we possibly can. I'm not sure if that's a possibility, how we can expand on that, but I think that would be something we can look into. But I have said on several occasions to other council members that I'm confused as to why these LERTAs are going through the infrastructure committee itself and not through a committee like strategic initiatives or the review committee. So this particular schedule coming through the infrastructure committee, while it's obviously I appreciate that you all are doing the work, it's great, and I know that other committees maybe aren't meeting right now, and that might be part of the reason, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me why a tax abatement would be going through a committee where we're supposed to be talking about roads, bridges, and our buildings.
Well, like you mentioned, some of the other committees aren't meeting as regularly as the infrastructure committee, and we do have a good cross-section with Ms. McDermott and Mr. Haas and Ms. Krasnowski of the council as a whole. But, beyond roads and bridges, any development that comes to the county is infrastructure. Whether it be, railroads, that's infrastructure, or buildings, that's infrastructure. So having a say in it and having a committee that's actually going to take on the burden and responsibility of doing those LERTAs, what other committee is meeting as regularly, besides maybe real estate, what other committee meets as regularly as infrastructure?
No, I totally agree with that. Maybe I have a different definition of what infrastructure is,
No.
I suppose.
Yeah, well, I was given the chair of, to be asked to be the chair of this committee, and I've broadened the definition a little bit more than what you initially gave to me. But anything that happens in the county should be the purview of the county infrastructure committee. And if the council wants to change, if the council wants to give me new directions, I'm happy to, as the chair, to take them. But until then, I'm just doing what I can to get work done around here.
Okay. Any other comments?
If I could,
Mr.
Mr. Chair,
Haas? Yeah.
President Kennedy said we should not negotiate out of fear, but we shouldn't fear to negotiate either. And essentially, all these are negotiations, but it's just that as a council as a whole. What this does, this is non-binding. For some of my colleagues out there that said, look, I don't want to be handicapped by this, it should be a case by case. We get that, and that's why it says that at the very end, at the conclusion. It's a guideline. What we've seen in recent times, Connie Vivello's LERTA that he proposed down there at the 309 project was almost a carbon copy of what the data center used. So we have other developers using the developers of the past to develop. And that's exactly what this aims to resolve and move us forward in a very structured way, but not in a way that's going to bind us to anything whatsoever. So now when a developer comes here and saying, oh, okay, well, I can expect this. Maybe I can try to negotiate a little more in this direction, which I don't begrudge anybody for wanting more of a profit anywhere. That's what I strive to do for our taxpayers, right, which everybody here on this side of the table does. So this is, I think it really also drives us the kind of development we want. I don't think anybody here is excited about warehousing over manufacturing, because when coal was king, coal was the primary economic driver here, and all those other the services that came out of that were based on coal. If we can bring manufacturing here, everything else hinges upon that, and warehouses will obviously come here, whether they have a LERTA or not, because they're going to need that. So I support this wholeheartedly, wherever it came from, Jimmy. Hats off to you for doing it, for taking leadership on this one, Patty, for working with you. And again, I don't see how this is a lose at all. I think this is just moving us in the right direction.
Mr. Wilovich.
Again, I have to agree. I think this is a great idea. I think as council, we should have more of a guiding light on what we expect to come to Luzerne County. I mean, are we just going to be all warehouses? You just want to build them everywhere? I mean, I think it's good to have more definition of what we're looking for, because they have to come to us for approval. I think that we should have the final say. And I think, I mean, like I said, carbon copy, we don't want everything to be the same. And there is room for negotiation. And I don't think that, we would hold it against them. If they present a good offer, we're going to accept it. And I think that's how we need to look at it.
Mr. Sabatino, and then you can speak again.
And it's something that I mentioned in our infrastructure committee meeting. The LERTA, we could use it to be proactive as a tool to bring the type of development that we want here. So if there's another category that you guys are interested in, like putting out there into the world, so developers can say, okay, we don't want to bring X here, but we want to bring Y and Z. So let's see what we have project-wise in Y and Z that would fit this, like area. So, I mean, this is a tool that we could use to be proactive for future development and not wait for somebody to come and ask us for something.
Go ahead, Mr. Liscavige.
I think the biggest point here too, this is all mine-scarred land. This isn't desirable land that we're giving these things out to. So with that being said, the purpose is going to be pretty minimum on what you can do with this land. Right. And a lot of these developers have done a great job, in my opinion. Hats off to Miracle. You drive through that development up in Pittston, some of them buildings are beautiful, but you wouldn't even know some of them are a warehouse from the outside. But what I'm saying is that they took that area up there that used to be an old coal company, right by the Volvo dealer, and it's gorgeous now. And it's pumping a lot of dollars into this county. I don't know, probably any of us sitting here know how many is enough warehouses. Do we know? I don't think so. But I do know one thing. Costs are going to keep going up. Bills will keep escalating in this county. We better have an answer for it, because you just can't keep raising the taxes. And a prime example of that, look at Pittston Area High School. Hasn't raised taxes in how many years? John touched on it. Yeah. How about Wyoming area? 8% 3 years in a row, and they compound that. Where do you think they're going? Nowhere fast. And it's because they have no growth, and it's going to catch up to them, because you just can't keep putting it on the people.
I don't disagree with you, Councilman. But at this point, we can ask Lehigh Valley, Lehigh County, we can ask Northampton County, how much is too much? Because they're going in the opposite direction now. They're trying to curb that warehousing development. So there are other counties out there that we could, and this is a starting point. This is the whole point of this, is to have the debate between us and get good guidance down so we can attract the right type of development to the county. Nobody around this table is against development. We just want to use the LERTA as a tool to bring the right development.
Ms. Smith?
May I offer an observational suggestion to perhaps ease some of the council members' concerns? Instead of calling it establishing a standardized fee and abatement schedule, can we say establishing a suggested standardized fee and abatement schedule?
I'm okay with that.
If anybody's gonna, like, if a developer is looking at this and maybe might be deterred by, oh, I see a standardized schedule, and doesn't read all the way to say that it's guidance, we just put it right in the title, maybe that will allay some of the concern.
I'm okay with that. Was the
I-
rest of the
yeah.
committee okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think at this point, the committee has done its job.
I agree.
I think, I would move that we move this to the voting session,
I
because
agree.
we have alerta coming right up on the next item here. And I think three of you suggested, we don't want to be bound by anything, but this clearly doesn't do that. Councilwoman Smith's suggestion changes the wordage a little bit, makes it a little more palatable. I know, Greg, you talked about defining warehousing and logistics. What can we do with that? Warehousing, it's a warehouse, what were you thinking of?
Is that like building, TVs, or is that,
Yes.
there's a bunch of different things to be. Is it a data center? What's tech?
Yes.
The intention was like the data centers.
I know the intention, but,
Yeah.
I mean, you can
Tech.
get the words in the weeds.
Basically non-warehouse, as far as I would say it. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
we could-
warehouse,
But that's the
and
other
you've got
thing.
like manufacturing and tech.
It's just guidance.
Right.
So if we hear it, it's kind of like the Supreme Court's definition of pornography. Harry, Ramilda, anybody? I can't define it, but I know it when I see it, right? I think it's a little like this. We don't necessarily have to define those things. We may find something that on the surface looks like tech, but once we actually talk to the developer, it's not tech. I think that's also important about the fact that it's suggested and a guidance. It doesn't marry us to anything.
I personally, I'll just to respond to that, I just feel that at the end of the day, everything that we do here is about optics and how we try to, I think, maintain good optics as far as development is concerned in the county. And if it appears that we are trying to put our knee on the development of a certain type of property, then I don't see how that would be a positive thing. And I think that no matter what we do, if we say the word suggested or guidance or whatever other happy word we can think of, it may not necessarily be enough. Like, let's say, not to suggest that the newspapers will report this incorrectly, but they may say in their headline, Luzerne County develops fee schedule for LERTAs and passes it, whatever. But maybe that devil is in the details of what the clarification is in the article, but the first thing the developer sees is we developed a fee schedule. So I just think that at the end of the day, having this and not doing it individually will be a detriment to development in general. Mr. Haas?
I think if any developer sees a profit, they're going to come. They're going to have the conversation. And I think if anything, we already put our finger on the scales when we just give away LERTAs that have been used before without really negotiating, and this puts the ball in our court. It lets council represent the taxpayer proactively and not reactively.
Agreed.
We've been doing reactive LERTAs before my second time on council here, and it doesn't serve the taxpayer well. We approved a LERTA, and that it was a little disingenuous. Now we're going to have power lines going through people's homes, and it looks that way. So if the discussion, if it were more in our court, it would have been a little more forthcoming. And I don't remember, by the way, for the record, I don't remember that discussion ever coming up that power lines were in that equation. But nonetheless, I digress.
We
But
asked numerous
the ultimate
times-
thing is here that this is the council driving the bus. That's how I see it. But does anybody really have any problems with this that would prevent us from moving this forward? I mean, now's the time really to talk about this and air out the dirty laundry, and let's move forward.
Yeah.
Is there a-
I respectfully, could I just add a comment?
Sure.
I understand what you're saying, Mr. Haas. I do have an issue with it because we say it's going to put us in the driver's seat and we're going to control what kind of development happens here. The developers that bypass Luzerne County, when they see a schedule, I'm not even going to negotiate with those guys. I'll just go up to Scranton, Music, just anything north of us, or I'll just go just south of us. We won't know the impact of this until years down the road when we don't get the develop. We don't know what we don't know. We don't get the development here, we'll go somewhere else. No one's gonna tap us on the shoulder and say, oh, by the way, that developer that just built in Music, they were gonna build right here in Luzerne County. Like, we don't know that, so I do have an issue with it, even though it's negotiable. That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you.
You know, I like having these discussions now in this format rather than when the developers sit out in the crowd,
Yeah.
you know, going, looking at us that way. And I will say the quality of here is so wonderful. We are so blessed here in this county compared to almost anywhere else in the country. That's why I came back here. And there's already a lot of development in Lackawanna County. There's almost no vacancy sign up there because along their highways it is developed. And if you look at the counties south of us in the Lehigh Valley, Northampton and Lehigh and even Berks County, they don't want these. Almost categorically, they're against these at this point because there's a no vacancy sign. And now the traffic down there is a mess to get to anywhere because they've got all these warehouses down there. And I'm being very general, but that's, if you talk to fellow commissioners, they're not fans of it. But yeah, my 2 cents. We're always going to disagree with these major things like that. I don't have a problem with that. I like having the discussion here.
Ms. Krasnowski, can you just make sure you have your mic on?
Just a quick question. What's the longevity on those warehouses? I mean, that's always my concern, that they come, they build, and then they stay vacant. So what is the general consensus on it seems to me like a lot of them are vacant and they're not being utilized. And I guess that's where I come in, where I would not rather have them. You know, and I think some of these, we should really even be putting in here that they should build housing too along with them, because that's where we're in dire straits of this housing, really, for people to live. And then having a business is one thing, but where do you put these people to live?
I think, if I could, Mr. Chair, I think DCD is sitting on that answer. Patty, if you want to look at different warehouses in different parts of the state, you know, who hangs on. I think from what I remember our discussion years ago, about 80% stay in Luzerne County. So that's why when I have these debates about this, I'm not saying a lot of them bolt, some definitely do, but there was one here in Wilkes-Barre years ago. If you remember the KOZ days, it was Commonwealth Telephone, it was up in Dallas. They came down here for 10 years. When their abatement ran out, they took off. And we don't want that kind of development, but I don't think that happens as often as they stay. I think they generally do tend to stay. And that's why I'm not categorically against these things myself, but I just want us to be in charge, because that's what the taxpayers want from us.
Mr. Sabatino.
And the committee did discuss putting in a housing requirement, but we didn't want to restrict the developers that much. We wanted to leave it open for negotiation. We wanted them to be partners with us and come and ask us, for our input into how we want the LERDS to be formed. That's why we didn't make it a $15,000 per acre fee or, a 3-year abatement. We wanted to keep it relatively neutral for the developers.
Ms. Smith, and then I'm going to ask if we could please
understand.
move on.
I understand your point about not doing a housing schedule, but do you think that you might be willing to discuss a schedule for housing that is a very good schedule for them, because we are in dire need of housing?
I'm open to it.
Include it?
I'm always open to housing, but actually, Councilwoman Stevenson is the one working on that with County Manager Crocomo. That's something that they've discussed, and at this moment, I don't want to put my finger into what they're working on. So I would.
Well, I mean, you said that anything
yeah.
that gets
Well,
built
we
in the
also
county is infrastructure.
we also had a housing LERDA come up from Hazleton that we didn't take on, because of the type of housing that they wanted to build at the price point. If an appropriate developer comes with appropriate housing that would match the need of the county in a certain range, which is hard to do these days. I understand that. I see your eyes over there. It's hard to do these days, but we're not against it, but I'd rather leave that open for complete negotiation, because we can work with the housing developers a lot, and it is a need. And, it flips to the other end of the spectrum where we're in the driver's seat with warehousing maybe and tech development. We're not as much in the driver's seat with housing at this point.
So that opens my next question. Perhaps I would have to wordsmith it or really go through it. If we added a clause somewhere that says that something about, while we have included these particular schedules, they're not all inclusive.
We're not excluding any other.
Right.
Yeah. We could
They're
work on that.
Not limited to.
Yeah. These schedules are not the only LERDAs that can be applied for.
Right. And if we find what Councilman Thornton is, or Vice Chair Thornton is so concerned about if we are finding that our development slows really to a bad place. There's a way we can repeal this. I mean, it's not like we can't take it back. And finally, Councilman Miscavige and Vice Chair Thornton, you both have just been expressing concerns that you haven't really given an answer for. So would any change in this make you happy? Like, frankly, what kind of change would make you happy with this or make you amenable to this?
For me,
Yeah.
I think this is all redundant. If somebody comes in, you ask for a word, if you like it, you vote, you give it to them. If you don't like it, you send it out the door.
So I
don't know what this is accomplishing. We do this a lot. We bring something, and I appreciate the work you put into this, but I don't know what it's changing.
So it's telling me nothing will change it for you, right?
For me, no.
Right, okay, that's
'Cause you
fair.
know what? How
That's totally
often
fair.
I go down the street and I say, geez, you know what, in 4 miles, why do we need 15 mini marts? And they keep building.
I know.
It doesn't matter what I think, but you know what it is?
Sure.
It's called free enterprise and competition, and the weak will smash, right?
Right, but none of them have asked for alerta.
And saying that nothing will change your mind, that's fine, that's totally fair. I'm just honestly asking.
Yeah, the thing that I'd like to see, and I don't have any of the figures here, is the competitive numbers. I'd like to see what Lackawanna County charges for their LERTAs, and I'd also like to see south of us, the counties that Mr. Haas said. I'd like to see what their schedules are compared to ours. That's what I'd like to see.
It is my understanding after
That's what I like to
having spoken to the Lackawanna County commissioners that they give out quite a few LERTAs, and it's pretty, it looks more like
Okay,
our.
Ms. Stevenson had a comment that she's been waiting to make, and then we'll move on. So that's okay.
Trust me, I don't plan to be long-winded. Councilman Thornton, I think you make a valid point, wanting to know what surrounding counties have going on. I think that's a valid contribution to this discussion. And I think it's really important to recognize that this council is so specific and so different from past councils that we are really able to sit here and be innovative about the way that we decide to move forward and make our votes about the projects that are coming across this table. I think Councilman Sabatino being able to create a schedule to even introduce and discuss is a huge step forward to finding new ways to develop the county and to support the county and to find new ways to move forward and innovative ideas that are going to continue to contribute. And I would hope that all of you kind of take a little small note out of that book, because yes, we are here to be the watchdogs of the wallet, but also we're here to be able to create the opportunities for these things to come into the county. So keeping that door open is extremely important. Period.
All right. We ready to move on? Okay, thank you very much. All right, next up, speaking of LERTAs, we'll have a LERTA presentation by Mr. Rinaldi. Oh, can you just hit the button on the mic and should be.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yep.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Attorney Raymond Rinaldi. I represent Hazelton Creek Commerce Center Holdings, a project based in the city of Hazelton. The first thing I want to dispel, I appreciate your comments, Mr. Haas, but I'm not here looking for a new LERTA. I'm not looking for anything other than clarification for a LERTA resolution that was passed and adopted by 4 taxing bodies, that being the Luzerne County Council, Hazelton Area School District, the City of Hazelton, and the project overlaps into Hazel Township. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Hazelton Creek Commerce Project, it's on a former site that was deep mined, surface mined, was a location of 2 of the City of Hazelton's landfills. My client, the developer, took on that project to redevelop it, reclaim it at no cost to the taxpayers for the state of Pennsylvania or the municipalities and school district. Considerable expense to remediate that site and that property. The environmental remediation alone, the city of Hazelton would have been responsible for the cleanup of that site, and the cost for remediating that site once again was taken on by my client, the developer. The reason I'm here tonight, I'm saying I'm not here for a new LERTA. This is just a point of clarifications. We are at the cuspus now of actual development going vertical on 2 of the buildings. One of the developers of the particular lot in question has raised a question with regards to language that was in the LERTA resolution from 2021, and they look for clarification regarding if, I'll just use the example, we have 5 lots in the development. If I sell lot 5 and I'm building on lot 1, if lot 5, for some reason, after it's transferred, does not pay the real estate taxes, they don't want that to be a burden on lot 1, and they ask for clarification to say that lot 1 would still be exempt from the LERTA provisions, but lot 5, you have recourse, if they didn't pay their real estate taxes, to seek recourse against that particular lot 5. So I'm asking for introduction of an amendment to that 2021 resolution clarifying that point. I'm not looking for anything greater, but also nothing less than what we currently have, which is a LERTA exemption for this particular project. So if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to address them or address any concerns.
I have one question, and then I'll whoever anybody else. Was this, subdivision might not be the right word, but was this division of the lots part of the original LERTA request in 2021?
So in 2021, my client had a consolidation of approximately 300 to 400 acres located within the city of Hazleton, but then spilling over into Hazel Township. No, one of the buildings that was proposed is so large that it extended into Hazel Township. So they got land development approval for these 5 lots. That's been recorded. It was approved by Luzerne County Planning Commission, the City of Hazleton, and Hazel Township. Those plans have been submitted, approved, recorded, and now we're at the point of selling those lots or developing them ourselves. One building is going to be under spec, developed by my client, but we have a purchaser looking to buy one of the particular lots, developing that site, and bringing, a great benefit for the city of Hazleton and for Luzerne County, for that matter.
Okay. Mr. Lescavage?
So I think the question is, were you given the LERTA for one parcel and not a subdivision? That's number one. Number two, you mentioned that they put a lot of money in straightening out that land.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they bring dirt and sludge in from Jersey and New York and bring it into that area?
They brought in materials
And
approved by
didn't they
DEP.
charge for that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So
They did.
they made money on that land already. So to stand there and say that they put money into this to develop that land, that's kind of not fair. That's misleading. Just saying.
Point
So
taken.
if I recall this conversation from a little while back, this was a LERTA giving on one piece of property, one parcel. You're coming back and changing the rules, and I remember saying, then you should go back for a new LERTA.
Well, I wasn't here in the first presentation, let me be clear on that. The first part is, it was presented as a 5-building development project with 5 separate lots. It did comprise of approximately 300 to 400 acres. That is not one parcel of property. It is, right now, 5 different taxing numbers, and lot lines traversing the property. When it was presented to council and all the municipal taxing bodies, we presented a copy of our land development plan. It wasn't approved at the time, but it was presented as, here's our development. We have 5 buildings. It's going to be comprised of 5 lots, actually 6 lots, because I heard the concerns before about roads. All the internal roads are going to be maintained and retained by my client. Our entryways will touch on State Route 309, which is a state road, and there's provisions in there for the highway occupancy permit and what my client has to do to develop that site for the entryway, exitway. So it was presented as, at the time in 2021, as a 5-lot, 6-lot subdivision, and that was presented and attached to that original resolution.
Any other? Mr. Sabatino?
It said that you had a handout, but we've never received it. Did you have any information to present to us?
I was here to present for myself. I don't know
Okay.
why.
I don't know.
why
If
it
you had
said.
maps or anything?
I do have copies of
Okay.
the old resolutions, which I'd be happy to share, but I just
I
thought.
would love that, yeah.
If I thought they were already in your packets, that's
No,
it.
we've received
No,
no
we
material.
we were expecting something to that effect. Not necessarily saying you didn't deliver them to
Right.
us, but that's why it did say, like, if
Right.
we don't get them by the time that the agenda's supposed to be released, I just tell
Okay.
Ms. Lawrence to just put it as a
Right, no,
handout.
I
and we
understand
go-
that.
yeah.
I didn't know if there was like something that he did have for us.
No, I just relied on the fact that you had your prior resolution, and a copy of that was attached to the exhibit, which was the map. If those of you who are not familiar with the site, it's the
I'm very
largest.
familiar.
It's the largest piece of vacant land left in the city of Hazleton for
just-
development.
Mr. Thornton?
I just want to add, I look around the table, of the 11 council people here in 2021, 9 of us were not here. So you only have 2 people sitting here that are a little bit familiar with what you're saying in 2021.
And that's why I'm hoping to address any questions.
Mr. Haas was here, right?
Mr. Haas, Ms. McDermott,
Yeah.
and Mr. Perry.
I think we were,
Yeah.
I think, Mr. House, we were
Sorry.
on COVID cameras at the time, I think, during the presentation, so.
Okay.
The original resolution? Sure.
We can pull up a copy of this for the next time that it appears on an agenda, so it has more. Yeah, that's okay.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Attorney Ronaldo, you don't.
I
have
can,
to-
we can get the resolution.
Yeah, we
and
can get the original
attachments.
from there and go from there.
It was resolution number 4 at 21.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
If you could, Mr. Chair, ask Ms. Lawrence to just email that to us?
Yeah, Ms. Lawrence.
That'd
you
be
can just
great.
Do that when you have a moment.
What was the number of the resolution?
It was number 4 in
4 of
2021.
21.
Oh, 4 of 21.
Yeah.
We didn't have 421 resolutions.
Sorry if I wasn't
Okay.
clear.
That'd be a lot of work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from any other council members? All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have discussion regarding resolution authorizing county manager to execute an agreement between Luzerne County and JDP Realty Incorporated for office space for Luzerne County domestic relations. Mr. Heinmarsh?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. We're still on. I'm pleased tonight to be before this body and the executive branch to talk about a lease for domestic relations. I'm equally as pleased to have one of my colleagues, Lisa Parati, the Director of Domestic Relations Services. Yes, I'm here to talk about a proposed lease for domestic relations, but it's far greater than just a lease. We have a vision for the future of Luzerne County and for the families and specifically the children of Luzerne County. And we refuse to continue to let everyone put our children last. I'd like to begin by explaining how we got here and why we are here asking you to approve this lease. Everyday families become involved in the court system for different reasons, whether it's for custody, divorce, child support, dependency, delinquency, protection from abuse, adoptions. They're forced to get involved in a process that is extremely emotional, stressful, and world-changing. A process that could literally cause lifelong trauma on a child if not handled appropriately. And it's our responsibility to prioritize the needs and best interests of the children to ensure they feel loved, supported, equipped for a healthy future. To accomplish this, the legal system needs to operate efficiently and effectively, as the impact of court intervention on families and children is significant. Now let me walk you through what families face in Luzerne County. As of today, family court is conducted in numerous places. We're going to begin by discussing the Brzezinski Building. In the Brzezinski Building, family court proceedings begin, which include delinquency court, dependency court, custody, divorce, support, and adoptions. There are 3 floors in this building, 2 designated for domestic relations, and only 1 floor for all other family court proceedings. The domestic relations floors, based on state requirements, do not permit anyone other than domestic relations employees to use that space. On the last remaining floor, President Judge Salavantis, Judge Rogers, and hearing officers Yeager, Lazar, Waters, and Meza hold all their family court hearings. All cases begin at the Brzezinski Building through motions and then families are sent to the proper location where their case will be heard, with many families complaining about the chaos and confusion of the system. I think it is important to emphasize one floor holds most of the family court cases. Then we have the courthouse. Judge Toohill conducts family court in the main courthouse. Once the case begins at the Berminski building, the appropriate cases are then sent to Judge Toohill. These are all cases with minor children, causing families to be waiting in the hallways on the second floor for custody proceedings. These children are then forced to watch criminal matters, including the transport of prisoners, into the courthouse, which further compounds the trauma that they are already experiencing, which is frowned upon by experts in the family court field. Additionally, hearing officer Conser conducts dependency and delinquency review hearings in the courthouse due to a lack of space at the Berminski building. She too has families and minor children, children and youth caseworkers, juvenile probation officers, delinquent juveniles, all mixed in the hallways of the main courthouse on a daily basis. Lastly, the PFA office is located in the main courthouse on the ground floor. Each day our citizens come to file protection from abuse orders. These parties often bring their families or support members with them to fill out the required paperwork. At times, there are more than 25 people filling out paperwork and waiting for an ex parte hearing in the hallways of the basement of the courthouse. This includes adults and children, babies, carriages, crying babies heard throughout the entire courthouse. In 2023, Luzerne County was ranked 6th in the state for the highest PFA filings. We fall just behind Philadelphia, Allegheny, Delaware, Berks, and Montgomery counties. In 2024, family court judges heard 1,673 protection from abuse cases at the main courthouse. In 2025, our average number of hearings per week is 53, with our highest week being 70. Adding on average 12 contempts per week, with our highest in 2025 at 20 contempt hearings. It's also important to note that with family court being sprawled out throughout the county campus, security has become a leading issue. Working with AOPC, we went through the statistics, and family court has the highest statistics for violence, with Luzerne County reporting 41% of our overall reports being incidents directly related to family court. Our goal after a year of planning and searching is to bring a family court to one building. A building that provides a safe and calm environment for our families and children of Luzerne County, but will also provide additional space for the 11th judge taking the bench in January of 26. The way to accomplish this is to maximize court space and create a family court building at Berminski Building. But in order to accomplish this, we have to move domestic relations to another location. The Domestic Relations Office currently employs 45 staff, 37 in Wilkes-Barre and 8 in our Hazleton location. This agency covers child support, spousal support, alimony, and paternity issues. We're going to leave behind this evening a booklet outlining what domestic relations does, and they'll be here. I believe we've got copies for everyone. In 2024, the domestic relations staff carried a caseload of 6,865 cases and collected support payments totaling $32,643,000 for children and families of Luzerne County. To find a suitable place for the tremendous work that our domestic relations staff does for the benefit of all our families, we have viewed dozens of places, including locations recommended by the county, even as recently as a few weeks ago. We narrowed our search down. The only place that accommodates the needs of the Domestic Relations Office required by the Commonwealth, but that also requires no additional funds paid for by the county. The state will cover the entire monthly lease. Well, let's talk about the lease. The proposed lease of a location at 310 Market Street in Kingston encompasses 11,900 square feet. It will house all of domestic relations employees from the second and third floors. It is a single-story building with no need for an elevator. And it has parking for employees and the public. The lease is a 15-year lease. We have been in negotiations for months. It has been revisited multiple times, also consulting with the county solicitor and manager. It has been amended to include the following. After 36 months, there is an opt-out provision if the state, federal, or local funding for domestic relations is reduced or ceases. We have been assured, and the due diligence is done by Ms. Parati, that by the state, that no funding cuts have been implemented or insinuated regarding domestic relations. We've also been able to include a right of first refusal if the property is listed for sale. The monthly lease payment would be $25,783, which includes the renovations needed based upon the state requirements. Again, the state will pay the lease payment. There is no cost to the county. I'm here today because time is of the essence. We have an 11th judge being sworn in January of 2026. We do not have a permanent plan as to where the judge and the courtroom will be. Additionally, Luzerne County Family Court is growing every day, and it's our responsibility to put our families and children of Luzerne County first. We need to provide them with a safe, supportive, and caring environment so that they feel comfortable fighting for the well-being of their children as well as their essential needs. As it stands today, our system is chaotic and quite frankly embarrassing. To make an informed decision, I suggest that you need to come and see how family court operates, to see the space in which we operate. Myself, as well as other members of my staff, as well as Ms. Parati, invite you to come and view the space in which we operate on a daily basis. Please do just not listen to the limited facts being presented to you. Please do not make this decision lightly, because this decision will have a lasting impact on the families of Luzerne County. If not, moving forward with this lease, what are we prepared to do?
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep. Council members, questions? Mr. Thornton?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Highmarsh. Great presentation.
No problem.
And
I appreciate you listening.
I don't think there's a councilman around this table, councilwoman or man, that would doubt that we are in dire need of additional space for domestic relations, as you stated. And you do yeoman's work over there. I absolutely believe
They do.
that.
I applaud the staff
They
every day.
absolutely
It
do.
is
Thank
difficult
you.
work, but they do.
Everybody knows, everybody agrees, you definitely need the extra building, the extra space. The only issue I have is this particular building. I mean, we're sitting here now, I'm not prepared to tie the hands of future council members for 15 years. That's an awful long lease. That's the part I have a problem with.
Well, is the part that you have a problem with that particular building or the term of the lease?
Both, that particular building and the cost, even though right now it's being borne outside the cost of the taxpayers, we can't predict 5 years from now what that's gonna look like. Have you may not even be aware of this, 5 years from now, our county council that's sitting here, whoever that is gonna have an extra $26 million a year that we don't have now, because all of our loan and debt's gonna be paid off. I would love to see us take that 1 year of 26 million, and by the way, the year after that, 26 additional million, and every year after that. I would love to see us use that money to have our own great, terrific, fantastic, huge domestic relations building. I know it's 5 years away, but I have a problem going out 15 years with these costs, especially with no guarantee that the funding is always gonna be there for 15 years. But that's the only issue I have. A question I have for you, and that's just my issue, and I know a couple other councilmen expressed the same thing to me. How many properties have you looked at in doing your search?
We looked at 9 in total.
Okay, so before the end of the week, maybe, could you please email Ms. Lawrence a listing of those 9 properties and addresses? Because I'd like to just go around and look at them myself, because this is an awful big obligation by council. Thank you.
Okay.
Council members?
So-
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Mr.
Can I
Highmarsh.
answer
Yeah, go ahead.
some of the vice chair's questions?
Yep.
I mean, honestly, we're going to sit here tonight and say we're not prepared to address the solution for 5 years.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, when we obligate for 15 years out, when probably none of us here will be sitting here, that's an awfully big burden to put on the future of the county. Now, granted, absolutely need this additional space. I said that initially. But I'd rather see at least for 5 years, or maybe 7 years, but not 15. That's my only concern.
Okay. And then you brought up specifically that property. Is there something about that property that causes you significant concern?
I just think the cost is too much, the price. One question I do have, and maybe someone else could answer, I don't know, or maybe you know. It says in here, the rate will be increased 4% per term. When I read the language, the initial term is 15 years, so that means for the first 15 years, it's not going to be increased at all.
Per term, yes.
It's not per year or anything like that, right? Because it doesn't
I'm
mention.
gonna honestly, I'll go back, Councilman, and look, and I'll
Yeah,
email you an answer
I was just
tomorrow.
reading it here just, before we came out here. It says 4% per term, and it defines the first term as 15 years. So I'm imagining, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, that doesn't mean 4% annually. It means 4% after the first 15 years. I really don't understand that, what that means.
I am more than happy to get you clarification.
And then it says the next 2 additional 5-year terms, again, that would be, I guess, 20 and 25 years out if council that's sitting here chose to do that. I don't know what the 4% per term actually means. That's the issue I have. Thank you.
So it might be significant to note that our domestic relations office in the southern portion of Luzerne County, I don't know, what's the proper term that we? Southern County. We've been in that location since,
We've been in that location for over 20 years. We've been in the current location at 701 Church Street since 2000, with 3 5-year terms, which is the last one coming up at the end of this year. We'll prepare this summer to renew it, seeking a renewal. The landlord is asking for a slight increase. Prior to that, we were down further on Church Street with an additional lease. What I think you also need to understand is that the state is paying the cost of the lease.
I understand.
And also, the state reimburses the county 66% for anything we spend. So 66% of that 25,000 and some change is gonna come back to the county. As do all of our expenses that we submit on a monthly basis.
In fairness, though, to the state budget, we've all experienced this here, where new legislators at the state change that allocation from time to time. They've changed it many years. We're supposed to receive a lot of funding from the state every year for the courts. Mr. Highmarsh could speak to this. We don't get it. We're frustrated. We don't get it. We're supposed to get it. We don't. So that's a concern I have. When you have a whole new bunch of state legislators sitting there 4 or 5 years from now, we don't know what they're going to pass or not pass. That's a concern I have. There's nothing in writing they're going to guarantee this for 15 years.
Well, there is. Right now, there's a cooperative agreement that we go under. I've been there 13 years and
Yeah.
it's still been 66%.
Yeah, okay.
Ms. Parati, if you just want to go up to the microphone when you're making, just it's for the members of the public that are on the Zoom. I apologize.
That's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Go ahead, Mr. Lescavage.
Do we, on that property in Church Street, do we pay the taxes on that property?
No.
Like these people are asking us to do? Because I don't think I ever recall somebody renting a property and they want us to pay the property taxes for the year on that. That's kind of crazy to me.
In
I
Hazel-
even, what's really irritating, there's even a paragraph in there asking for $3,600 toward the removal of an ATM machine. If you're gonna fit a building for a tenant, I think that's your responsibility. I mean, you have to get the last $3,600 out of us? Are you kidding me? That, I find that really annoying, just saying.
Any other questions? Ms. Smith? Your mic, please.
Sorry. Mr. Heimarsh.
Yes.
First of all, when was the last time we didn't get the 66% reimbursement from the state?
I have been in my current position since 2013, and we've gotten the 66%.
Would it be fair to say that domestic relations is one of the offices in the state that is given the largest budget and is given the most attention and highest priority?
I do not think support is going away anytime soon,
Right.
and I don't believe it's a partisan issue.
With the onset of the new administration, we were alerted by the governor's office that there were going to be issues with regard to DHS, et cetera. We had a director's meeting, which we do quarterly. They had an emergency meeting, which assured us, all directors across the state of domestic relations, that we were not going to be in jeopardy of any funding. We have not felt any burn at all. Our monthly incentive, our incentive monies continue to come in. We operate based on reimbursement. Anything we spend, we are reimbursed 66%. In addition, on a quarterly basis, if we maintain an 80% collection rate, which we do on average, we are given 4 quarterly incentive payments. Last year, Luzerne County received 5. Those monies go into a fund that can only be spent on child support endeavors.
So you're clear
And-
that it goes to domestic relations. I don't want anybody to be confused
Correct.
that it goes into the general fund.
It does not go into the
Okay.
general fund.
All right.
Incentive monies go into what we call the 490 account. The reimbursement monies go into the 495 account. No, they are not general fund monies. They can only be spent to further the child support mission.
And just to be clear, if the funding does go down, there is a clause that we can get out in 3 years. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct.
And we have a right of first refusal for what?
Should the building go up for sale?
Right. Okay. And I just would like to put on the record that I practice family law here, and I know how confusing it is. It is, and I'm an attorney who practices here, and once in a while I still am going, where am I going today? It is very, very, it's labyrinthian, frankly. And I'm amazed that families are able to navigate it, and just so many things are going on. You mentioned that family law has such a high rate of violence, specifically domestic violence. I myself have seen violent things happen in the 3rd floor of the Berminski building. But is it true that, regardless of all that, family court is the largest and most quickly growing section of the courts?
It's right up there with criminal.
And would it be possible for the council to be able to visit the site that you're looking at, to see it, so we can see
I would implore you to take the time, not only to see how family court operates, but if you would like to see the site, I am more than willing to set that up. I'm making myself available and my staff, Ms. Parati.
for us to not only see the outside of it, like a drive-by, but to also see the inside of it?
What I think would be best, if you want my opinion, you come to Berminski first. I mean, I love
Oh, I've been to
Berminski.
Berminski all the time.
I've been there, but you haven't seen domestic relations. You're not allowed in unless you have a hearing, okay? So you've been in.
I have, yeah.
So you need to see how staff has decreased significantly. When I first started, there were 16 secretaries. I now have 3, and I do not need 3. I have a minimal amount of staff as compared to what we previously had. So yes, we're acknowledging that we need to get out. And it's time for us to go to a smaller location so that this building can be used for what it needs to be used for. However, I think you need to see that first. You need to see how the space that we are not using can be better used. Then come and see the building on Market Street. What we like about it is that it's 1 floor, there's extensive parking, it's on a main drag, people can see it, they're gonna find it. Some of the other locations that we've looked at, that were not as accessible. We are customer service based. If you can see from the documents we provided you, we pull in a lot of money, and we want that to continue. And the state rewards us for that.
Yeah.
We want that to continue. We need to be seen. We need to have people coming in, out fast, make payments, make it real simple for them. We don't need them to say, where are we going now? The other thing is we need to be close to the courthouse. Every other Wednesday, we have contempt court. We need to be accessible because contempt court is going to be with the contempt judge. Right now, it's with Judge Salavantis. We're on the 3rd floor. Who it's going to be next year, we don't know.
Okay.
So that's another consideration, that we need to be close to the courthouse. Also, when you have motions hours on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, a lot of times you have domestic relations motions that are filed. You need to have people be able to come over to Market Street, which is 0.8 miles, we clocked it, to be able to docket those documents. Not have to go across town or, into a location where they don't know where they're going, their stuff's not docketed, it's not going to be reportable. I mean, those are concerns that need to be addressed.
I agree. And right now, domestic relations pays approximately the same amount in the lease for the space they use in the Brominski building, is that correct?
Right now, we pay $20,668.25. I call it rent. It's not rent. It's cost of ownership, based on the county's cost allocation plan, based on space.
But you pay to the county, right?
Except we pay it to the county.
So if you
But we
paid
get
it to-
reimbursed 66% of that.
Right, so if you paid it to someone else, we would still be reimbursed 66%.
And you
of
would
that.
not be paying, county would not be paying it, we'd be paying it.
Okay. Thank you
Correct.
very much.
Yes.
Ms. McDermott, and then Mr. Sabatino.
Hi, thank you. Kevin, I think, brought up the question about the taxes. You said Hazelton, it's
do not
not
pay
in.
taxes.
Okay. So in any of those other leases that you were looking at, did they have that cost of taxes in there?
Well, we never got to it. We looked at buildings, we never got to the extent of negotiating a lease. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And then I was going to ask you questions about the other properties. I know you just went over a couple of them. So all of the other ones, the locations were not good, parking wasn't good, or too far from the courthouse, correct?
Some locations were not good. Some properties were not willing to make the required renovations to bring us into state compliance.
We not only have to answer to us, but we have to answer to the
Correct.
state. Their IT department comes in, says yes or no. So, we're up against that wall too.
And then how did the cost of rent compare on the other properties? I don't know if they were the same square footage or not, but were they comparable? I guess if you break it down per square foot, it should be like rental per square foot, correct?
Right, well, some of them were for lease, some of them were for sale. It would have required us to make or I should say the county to make the necessary renovations at an additional cost.
Okay, yeah,
This
so they weren't
lease-
all rentals, they were,
They were not all
okay,
rentals, no.
okay. All right, thank you.
Mr. Sabatino.
Well, to dovetail off of what Ms. McDermott said, could you differentiate between which were lease and which were for sale when you send
Yes.
us the property list?
Yeah.
And is any of this money going towards a potential buyout in the future for this property?
As the lease is structured right now, no.
Okay, well, I have a concern with that. If we're gonna ask them to invest the money and we're gonna pay for the renovations through our rent, which is an extra $5,000.
And that's one of the reasons why the term is so long, so that
Right.
the payment, the monthly rental payment would be in an allowable window in which the state would approve the lease.
We'd love to buy it, but they won't sell it right now.
Okay, but why can't we work with them to negotiate a end of 10 years? Have.
Well, that's certainly something we can discuss, and
Okay.
and that's really the point of us presenting the lease
Mhm.
to you to answer any questions and
And the money that that it can be, that is kind of like secured for child support purposes, can that be used to renovate this building?
No.
No, okay. That money can't be
Can't
used
use
for.
any money for capital improvements or expenditures.
Okay.
It's
Thank
only
you.
toward the child support mission, which
Mission.
is extremely exclusive.
Okay.
I can send my staff on trainings, can buy them T-shirts.
But
I mean,
you
stuff
can't
like
buy,
that.
you can't give them a nice office to work in. Right, okay.
Unfortunately, no.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Krishnowski? Oh, okay. Anybody else have questions? Ms. Smith?
One more thing. I have heard through the grapevine that you are still working on bringing them down on some terms in this lease. Is that right?
Well, I mean, we're always willing to go back and try to negotiate harder. I mean, we're all respectful of funding. I think I've proven that over the years. The money that you've allocated to the courts and the court's endeavors has been spent appropriately and
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Wilovich?
I just wanted to clarify more about the property taxes. Now, that's only if there's an increase in property taxes over 5%, correct?
I believe that's the way it's written in the
And
lease.
it says that the tenant would be responsible. Is the tenant Luzerne County, or would that come from the state as well?
That would come from the state.
Okay.
Any other questions from council members? All right, thank you very much, Mr. Heinmarsh. Ms. Parati?
If I may make one
Yeah,
closing statement?
absolutely, sure.
Chair, I know the hour is late.
No, that's okay.
Just a little late. Might as well stay here and go to work tomorrow. But that being said, if not this, what? June is upon us. There is a judge that's going to be taking the oath and seated in January of 2026. We currently have no location for that judge or a courtroom. There was just the judicial needs assessment, which indicates that based on the current workload, that we should perhaps be allocated up to 14 judges. So I don't want to be short-sighted here either and just say we're going to fix this for this 11th judge and not have any consideration, because I think we do need to look to the future. It's a very strong possibility that we would get a 12th judge. And then what? I can't stand here today before you and say, I know the county will be in better financial shape in 5 years. We can't wait. The families of Luzerne County deserve the best. I think we all agree on that. I don't think there's anyone that would disagree on that. I think what we've proposed to you this evening is a very, very viable option to achieve the goal of a family court building, to provide the best for children and families of Luzerne County. And I can't encourage you enough to truly understand these words could only show you so much. I think you need to come and see the Berminski building. You need to see family court in operation. We would love to take you to the proposed property. I'd drive you around to all the other properties we've looked at as well. But we have to do something. Doing nothing is not an option. Thank you. I appreciate your time. If you would like to take a tour or get more information.
Y'all have my card. Call
Thank you.
Anytime you want to come over. I'll show you.
Everybody knows where I'm at.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay. Next up, discussion regarding resolution rescinding resolution 2024-23, thereby deobligating funds previously allocated to H&N Investments LLC related to redevelopment of the former Hotel Sterling site. Anybody have any discussion on this? Seems pretty cut and dry. Seems like something I don't think we need to talk about at 9:45. It's just taking the money, just deobligating it from the Hotel Sterling site.
Yeah.
Yeah, $3 million. Okay. All right. Excellent. Great. Finally, CCAP registration for summer conference.
Thank you.
Mr. Haas.
1 minute, I think 30 seconds, Kev. 30 seconds. Oh, wait.
You're already
So-
10 seconds into this.
So, summer conference starts August 17th, ends on August 20th. Early bird expires in June 30th, so I thought if any council members want to go this year, it's $470. I believe we allocated $2,000 last year out of the budget for this express purpose. I always found value when I went. I know a couple members went last time. So, I want to make sure we got on the voting session next week if anybody was interested. I don't know if I can make it personally. I still talk to Mrs. Haas, see how that goes, but,
Okay.
you know, just put it out there for the council.
All right.
I would be very, very interested in going. I haven't been able to go to one yet.
It's out in Seven Springs, by the way, out in the Pittsburgh area. A little
Okay.
bit of a trip, but always valuable.
All right. Thank you very much. Public comment. What do we have? Not here.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion. Anybody? Public comment?
Oh.
No, he left. All right. No one here.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.